Yo, we're back. Hello, hello. We're back with more Kenzie. Where's all the babelets? I see some of you in here. Hello, hello. Let me start from the beginning. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Can you guys see me and hear me okay? Let me make sure because, per usual, I'm having issues. Let me know if you guys... I know I was lagging a little bit. But I think it's better. Or it should be at least. Anyways, hi, we're back to finish Kenzie text messages. Hopefully we can get through April today. I don't know, to be honest, because we are on April 2nd of 2020. So we're reading over Mackenzie Shirilla text messages. Let me say hi to everyone, settle in. We'll be live for a little bit and then not too long though, because we do have a J.E. We're gonna have code words. A J.E. live after this. We're going through the files. So I hope you guys can join there as well. I have been really disgusted, but I have enjoyed going through those. We'll be dropping a video tonight about J.E. and the files, but we do have a live after. We're going to read some documents and whatnot. So let's get started. We left off on April 2nd with the text messages of 2020. So this was before the crash. Although I don't remember, it's been a couple of days that I've done a Kenzie live, but I don't remember. She was saying tomorrow, okay, we're going to go to Baskin-Robbins. And please hit the like button, guys. It does help with, especially when YouTube's trying to censor me with the J.E. files. I'm sorry, next time we chill, we'll have to make sure we're alone. Okay, so whatever. She was mad that they weren't hanging out. She says, tomorrow after my nail appointment at 11:43 p.m., she says, then go to Baskin-Robbins, and then it jumps to midnight, and she says, can you send me your mom's number? That's exactly where we left off. So she's asking for Miss Russo's number. Hey, Vanjie, good to see you. It is rainy here, too, as well. So this weather, it's all over the place. Yes, Slender Bean. Thanks for being here, guys. She says, can you send me your mom's number? She says, I don't know where the nail place is. Oh, wait, I wanted to, why am I not sharing? Oh, my screen. You guys are like, where's the messages? Let's do this. Yeah. And I can put chat up on the screen as well. Hey, Nicole. Love you too, girl. Shout out to you. Mackenzie says, I don't know where the nail place is. Okay, Dom, that's redacted. Dom says, are you still up at 1:08 a.m.? She says, so it's a second at 1:08 a.m. And then she says, I am now at 9:03. She says, babe, if you're up, can you make sure I get the address to the nail place? I texted your mom, but she didn't answer. But I think there's a green Post-it note with the Addy. And she says, why did you make it so I can't see if you active? And she removes an exclamation mark. She says, you need to answer me right now. I know, so I know where I'm going. She emphasized it. He says, I was sleeping at 11:29 a.m. He says, I'm up now, though. She says, your mom texted back. But yeah, why did you turn off the active thing? And how was last night? He sends her a screenshot, I think, of his phone. He says, for you. For you? He says, GOMD. GOMD. Get off my D. Is that what that means? I have no idea. Or is that typo? No, I think I think that's what that means. She says LMAO. Oh yeah, it says right there, get off my D, right, LMAO. Dom says, yeah, okay, so I was right. She said, if I would have just read ahead. She says, well, how was last night? He says, kicked it for a little, then crashed. She says, I'm biting my nails off. Babe, Insta. I might not be able to get Burberry. I might have to get pink. He says, okay, get that. She's talking about her nails. She says, you sure? Insta, help me, please. French tip again? She quoted it or questioned it. He says, sure. Dude, he doesn't care. She says, okay. She sends a picture of nails. He says, those are dope. She says, get that or black French tip? Dom. And she questions it. She says, please answer. He says, yeah. She says, which one? LOL. He says, what do you mean, which one? She says, I'll just talk to you later. She says, let's go get Baskin-Robbins after my appointment. And that was at 2:59. And then she says at 3:09, Dom. He says, can I chill with Kyle at 5? She says, you're going to be there all night. Then we have no time to hang. And you said you would chill with just me and you. He says, I always say probably. Here's the thing, though. Kristen has work, so just me and Kyle can chill. Or you can chill with me till 5. She says, that's cool. After my appointment, I'm coming over then. He says, okay, then leave at like 5 or like 5:30. She says, yeah, LOL, bet. He says, oh, okay, because that's not a lot of time. She says, I'm gonna come soon. She says, on my way, and it's 3:50. She says, from Brunswick, though. I thought it was just gonna be me and you. He says, sorry, Jimbo went to Blair's house, so Blair brought him back. She says, how? Yesterday you said it would just be me and you chilling today. When you go around your friends, you don't give me hugs or kisses, she says. Gross. Hey, Irony, does she need Dom for everything? Dude, hi, Kimmy. Hi, Pumpkin. She's annoying as hell. Hugs or kisses? No, no kisses for you, Kenzie. She says, like, I only have 1 hour with you today. 5 question marks. 5 more question marks. He says, I told you what happened. She says, he can leave. You can leave. You can say you have runs and then just hang with me alone. He says, no. She says, just don't forget to text me if you dip Kyle's. She says, sorry for being annoying. I just really wanted alone time with you. He says, I accept your apology. Kyle just stopped answering. So did my dude. She says, thanks, babe. And WTF? That's so annoying. Bruh, I'm watching Shameless and Debbie's pregnant. She says, yo, at 7:28 p.m. Text me back, babe. She says, do you think you're going to be free at 8:21 p.m.? She questions it. Babe, you said you wouldn't ignore me. He says, I was driving, my bad. She says, it's okay, babe. Do you think you will be free soon? Dom, question mark, question mark. You said you wouldn't ignore me. LOL. She questions her message. He says, my bad. We going to hell. She says, N-word. Without me? She says, wow. She says, whatever. He says, no, not hell, the other hell. Okay, whatever. I don't care. She says, you should care. That's the type of shit that makes me so upset. After you didn't want to do anything with me today, then when I dip, you're in the mood for anything. So I'm guessing you're not coming back tonight. He says, no, I'm not. She says, can we do Baskin-Robbins tomorrow then? She says, get off D&D too, please, at 10:30 p.m. And then at 11:11, she says, babe, question mark, question mark, question mark. She says, I'm just going to bed, probably. Have fun. We can just go to Baskin tomorrow. Good night. And he says, okay. She says, say good night, babe. And send kissy. He says, good night. She sends an emoji. She says, nice reply. At 5:30 in the morning, she says, I can't sleep. I'm going to freak out. I hate my nails so much. Like they effing hurt and they're ugly AF. Text me when you're up, she says, at 9:54. He says, they can't be that bad. She says, I don't know. I'm stressed. Want to go to Baskin at 1? Please, babe. All my nails crooked and they hurt bad AF. Dom, answer. Please answer right now. He says, I'm sleeping. It's noon. She says, I didn't know. I thought you were up. When you're up, let me come over. Then we can hang out and go to Baskin-Robbins. And then she says at 12:45, are you still sleeping? You're still at Kyle's, right? Text back? Question mark. Let's go to Baskin. Are you ignoring me? I got food today and passed your house and I saw your car. She says, Dom, sad face. He says, let me get up and do stuff. Then I get you. She says, can you just bring me today? Smiley. How was last night though? He said, no, sorry. She says, it's okay. I need your opinion though. Can you FaceTime me real quick? Babe, he says, on what? She says, can we hang soon at 3:48? I really do want to get Baskin before it's too late. Babe, question mark, question mark. She says, text me back. She says, Dom, baby. She emphasizes, I really want to get Baskin. She says, you keep saying you want to ignore me, and then you just don't answer. Answer me. You decline, but then you don't text me back. Like it's getting late, she says at 4:40 p.m. And then you just go on D&D. He says, I'm sorry, I'm doing shit. She says, Dom, that doesn't mean go on D&D and ignore me. Like it's going to be late for ice cream soon. Come get me. You're still on D&D and we were supposed to go get ice cream together like for like 40 days. She says, and I thought you were going to be doing runs because you were done doing runs because of Corona. Like I know you're on your phone. Snaps. Like you said, after you get up and do stuff, and I'm just waiting, but I have the feeling you're just going to bail on me and it's already almost too late for ice cream. Like it's been time to chill. I'm for real about to freak out, she says at 5:21 p.m. She says, I don't want to just wait here and have you ignore me all day, then come back obviously too late. She says, stop ignoring me. Like it's time to hang. She removes an exclamation. This is gay AF. Like I've had a surprise for you for days. She likes his message, then says, this shit makes me way too upset. Ignoring me is not the way to go. Then she says, wow. And he says, I'm going to be home soon. She said, how soon is soon? Like 10 minutes? I will be ready. She sends 15 question marks. He says, I'm about to be home soon at 6:05 p.m. She says, you already said that. How soon is soon? You literally already said you're going to be home soon, Dom. Like, how soon is soon? 10 question marks. She sends a screenshot of a Google, something on Google. He says, I just got home at 6:19 p.m. She says, can I come over? He says, 5 minutes. She says, LMAO. He says, not right now. And why? She says, Dom. He says, what? She says, we were supposed to get ice cream today. Like, it's getting late. Let me come over now. I've been waiting and you told me you're going to be home soon. Like, I thought I was coming over when you were home like you said I could. She says, quote unquote, let me do stuff and then I got you. You got up and did your shit. It's time to hang. And she emphasizes her message. She says, answer right now. She says, what the F? With a bunch of Fs. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't just say what, then not answer. You said you will be home soon. Then I was like, oh, okay, bet. I got ready and now it's time for me to come hang. Like question mark, question mark. When you do this, for real, you stress me out way too much. Like I'm all hot and I'm biting my nails. He says, okay, you can come. She says, on my way. And that was at 6:28 p.m. And then it jumps to the next morning at 11:14. Hey, Luna. Oh my God, she's worse than a dog. I know. Why are her nails crooked and stuff? Like she didn't do them herself. She went somewhere and got them done. Kenzie's living in her own version of shameless. You guys, she's at this point, she's more than stalking him. She says, good morning, babe. Text me when you're up at 11:14. He says, I'm up. She says, want to go explore today after you do stuff? He says, I'm going to hoop with Thomas. She says, when? Dom says, I don't know. I'm trying too soon. They're trying to before 4. Kenzie said, so we're not chilling today. He says, I don't know. She says, we should go exploring. He says, okay, after I hoop. Depends what I'm doing. She says, okay, bet. She says, is it nice out? He says, that's not a for sure. He says, it's really hot out today. She says, oh my God, really? Like shorts? Dom says, I was wearing no shirt, but you'll probably be cold. She says, LMAO, probably. She says, I'm going to hang with Gabri until you're ready. And also don't ignore me today, or at least try not to ignore me. He says, okay, but I'm not going to be ready for sure. Remember? She says, you try for me, babe. For real, for 3 seconds, LOL. She says, I need FaceTime. I think she meant FaceTime me. She says, I need outfit advice. He says, I'm hooping. She says, okay, never mind. "W- Ask your mom about your stupid outfit." She says, "What are you doing at 3:03 p.m.?" She says, "Babe, when are you going to be done?" She says, "I'm really annoyed right now." He says, "Why is that?" Dom says, "'Cause of that other shit?" Question mark. She says, "Babe, I already told you. Yeah. I just wanna be outside." Dom says, "Oh, okay, well, I don't know if you text or call me first. Go chill at the lake." She says, "LMAO, and I don't wanna be there alone." He says, "True." She says, "I would go." Dom says, "I used to go there alone." He says, "And eat gummy bears." She says, "I don't want that lady recording me." She has the camera facing the ledge. She says, "I wish I had gummy bears." He says, "Gummy worms would slap way harder." She says, "What kind? Like the sour ones?" He says, "Yeah." She says, "Those smack." She says, "I'm for real so bored and annoyed. Like, I want to go exploring and shit, but Gabri's not answering." Dom says, "Yeah." She says, "When you're done hooping, explore with me. Please take me somewhere fun." She says, "Babe," sad face. He says, "Maybe," at 5:24 p.m. She says, "Babe, please. It's about to be cold soon, too. I'm dead AF even after you send that random guy that pic. He's still trying to hit me up." She says, "Babe, can we please hang now?" She says, "Whoa." So that goes from, she says, "Babe" at 6:05, and then she says at 11, oh no, 7:11. I thought it was 11. She says, "Can we please hang now?" She says, Dom says, "I'm doing shit." She says, "Scoop. You told me you were done doing sales. Scoop me when you're done with your sales." She says, "Okay, babe." Dom? He says, "I'm smoking with Trevor and Dom." She says, "After you smoke with them, can you scoop me? That way we can go exploring or just chill too." He says, "I'm hooping with Thomas and them." She says, "You were already with him though. Can I come hoop with you guys? I really want to be outside. Please, babe." Dom? He says, "No, I wasn't." She says, "Can I come hoop after I shave my legs?" She says, "Please, babe." Sad face. He says, "No simpin' 2020." She says, "Not funny. You better simp for me. So after I shave, I can come?" He says, "No, babe." She says, whatever, Dom. Then can I just come over early tomorrow? Since you had a whole entire day to hang out with your dude friends, she says. He says, "I don't know." She says, "I think we should at 10:08 p.m. Or you can sleep over here or leave me on red." Dom says, "It must have been on accident." She says, "Well, are you going to answer?" He says, "Yeah." "You think we should what?" She says, "LOL, do you want to sleep over tonight? And I think we should hang tomorrow." And it's 10:44 p.m. Um, I think like everybody's different, right? And your parents and stuff, but I wasn't allowed to have boys sleeping over at that age. She's like 15 here. Maybe 15 going on 16. I don't know, but she's 15 or 16, I think, here. She doesn't know what no means. She's so clingy. Hey, Knox, is this the day Dom and Davion lose? No, no. We're way ahead of before that. We're in 2020. Um, she doesn't know what no means. And he doesn't want to bring her around his friends. Um, she says, "Do you want to sleep over tonight?" Like, cool, Natalie Shirilla. My parents were old school. I could not have boys over at that age. I don't know. Let me know if you guys were able to have boys over at that age. Sleeping over. Hey, Kendra. Um, she says, "Text me when you're up at 11:18 a.m. on the 5th. We gotta hang today." She says, "Babe." He says, "What's up?" She says, "Let's hang." I'm like, "In like an hour or now." She says, "Babe." He says, "I'm doing something important." She says, "What are you doing?" "After, babe. Please, let's hang after." She questions the message. She says, "LMAO, you take so long to reply." He says, "Probably. I'll show you later. It's really dope." She says, "Oh, okay." She says, "I look really cute today. You're gonna like it." She says, "Why you leave me on red?" She says, "Oh, I look really cute, but why you leave me on red?" This is why she has no boundaries, no parental guidelines, right, vacay? I would never been able to. No way, dude. My dad wouldn't allow that. Exactly, Kimmy. I'm in the same boat. My dad would flip. He would be like, "What are you even thinking?" Like, that's an automatic no. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's different for like guys, but still, it's her house. It's her parents' house. She says, "I look really cute today. You're gonna like." She says, "Why you leave me on red?" She says, "And when are you gonna be done?" He said, "That was by accident. I was driving." She says, "Babe, pick me up. Let's hang out now. I don't want to be here all day. Come, babe." He says, "Maybe later, babe." She sends an emoji. "You said we can probably hang after you do the important thing. And obviously you're done because you're driving now. And also you told me you were done doing sales." He says, "I drove there. I'm not. Chill the F out. You making me not want to chill with you." She says, I'm chilling. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a bitch." He says, "Don't start calling me out assuming." She says, "Well, you said you can probably chill after. Are you still doing it? Can you come before 6, please? Or like now?" Dude, he just said no. It's literally went from 4:06 p.m. to 4:07 p.m. So literally 1 minute. Kimmy says my dad would literally take me out the door. My dad, my friends, and they were just my friends too. I think it was like in high school, but I don't know what grade. And they were like, I was trying to sneak out. So they were like trying to help me. And they like came up behind the bushes. And I just remember like my dad totally caught us and he like chased them down the street. And it was pretty hilarious. You can tell he's not that into her. No, he's not. He's not that into her in 2020, but he changes. It ends up changing. He ends up being obsessed with her. Or not obsessed, but stuck, I guess. I think obviously he really likes her, but I think towards the end it was actually I don't really think he really likes her here. I think he does like her, but then in the end I think he just feels stuck and she's blackmailing him pretty much, allegedly in my opinion. I have to be careful what I have to say because people be watching. Natalie Shirilla. Um I'm annoyed for Dom. I know, me too. She says, "Or like now." She says, "Like we talked about chilling last night." Dom says, "Chill. I just got home." She says, "I'm chilling, babe. Can I come over?" Question mark. He says, "Not right now." She says, "How about in 30 minutes? I want to come over soon." "At 5?" Question mark. He says, "I'll let you know. It'll be pretty soon." She says, "Okay, yay." It's 4:35 p.m. now. She says, "I look really cute, like for real." He says, "LOL." She says, "LOL, just don't ignore me. And are you scooping or you want me to get a ride?" He says, "I don't know. I'll let you know." She said, "Hit me up in 30 minutes." She said that at 4:43. And then at 4:15, she says, "Now?" He says, "I'm watching basketball with Angelo." She said, "Can I watch with you guys? Please?" LOL. He says, I don't know." She says, "Please, you said soon. Just let me come. Babe, it's been soon for a while. Just let me come." He says, "I said no." She said, "You said I don't know." Dom says, "Angelo's leaving soon." Kenzie says, "And you said we can hang soon. So then we can hang." He says, "Sure," at 5:26 p.m. Kenzie said, "When he leaves, how soon is he leaving?" Dom, she questions her on message. "You left me on red." He says, "It was by accident." She says, "Oh, okay. Can I come at 6?" He says, "I'm about to shower." She said, "I can just come in. Can I just come in and wait for you?" Babe, I guess that means I have to wait another 30 minutes. After you get out the shower, tell me ASAP. Dom says, "I never got in." She says, "Can I come now? It's been way more than soon, LOL. Just let me come and I'll chill while you shower." Dom says, "I'm kidding. I just got out the shower and I'm gonna smoke with Bernie, though, real quick. He's down in the dumps." She says, "Can I please come and smoke with you guys?" Dom, I've been ready and waiting. When you say soon, that means 5 to 10 minutes, not 2 hours. Just let me come smoke with you guys. Dom says, "Soon for me is 2 hours." She says, "Please, Dom, not funny." She says, "Let me come now. You said you make me wait too long. Like, soon isn't 2 hours. I'm for real starting to get stressed. Dom puts a bunch of question marks and exclamations. Kenzie says, you said after Angelo leaves, I can come. Now y'all all done watching basketball. Now let me come. He says, okay, fine. You can come at 6:40 p.m. She says, okay, on my way. He says, but turn off the light when you get here, like to my car. She says, what? She says, your light is on? Dom says, yeah, I forgot it. I left it on. She says, okay, I got you. She says, straight face. She puts a little straight face. He says, hey, what are you doing? Wait, is it the next morning? Oh, yeah. She puts a little straight face. And then it jumps to the next day. And he says, hey, what are you doing at 2:30 p.m.? She says, just chilling outside. It's really nice out. What about you? He says, smoking a wood. She says, I hit the bong and got so tired. It was overwhelming. Fired. Wait, what? I hit the bong and got so fired. It was overwhelming. Dom says, third time you've been fired now? She says, well, I mean fried. Oh. She says, LMAO. I only been fired one time. She says, what are you doing? She says, soon? Question mark. Dom, text me back. She emphasized. He says, I've been just shooting around all day. She says, can I come hang? He says, not right now, but yeah. She says, okay, bet. Is it still nice out? She says, hang soon at 7:11 p.m. She says, or now? He says, we probably can soon. She says, okay, and like 30 minutes soon? LOL, LOL. That was at 7:26. And then she says at 7:59, now? Question mark. Soon isn't more than an hour, Dom. Sad face. I thought you meant like 30 minutes or less. Babe? She removes an exclamation. She says, soon isn't more than 1 hour, Dom. I thought you meant like 30 minutes or less. Dom says, I don't know. She says, let me come soon. She says, like now. You said soon, Dom. She says, Dom, answer the phone. Just let me come now. You said soon an hour ago. She questions her message. He says, I don't know. I'm tired now. She says, Dom, you said I can come. Let me come. I'll leave at 12. I don't care what we do. We can just chill. He says, I'm tired though. She says, please. We can sleep then. Just let me come, Dom. You can't just say yes and then leave me here when I thought I was coming over. He says, I'm tired. She says, Dom, in caps. You said that 13 times. Let me come over. We don't have to do anything. I can just sit with you and you can go to sleep. So you just gonna let the call ring when you answered me 1 minute ago? I don't get it. Oh, she tried calling him. She says, I try so hard to keep my cool when you do shit like this. You really don't know how mad I get when you tell me we can hang later and then you just give me the time you said I can have with you to someone else. That's there pretty much every day. She says, I'm so annoyed. Thanks. He says, no, I'm alone. You can come, he says, at 9:02 p.m. He says, I'm really tired though. She says, on my way and you can sleep. It's all good. He says, okay. She says, I'm coming. Question mark, question mark. He says, what? I'm in the kitchen. She says, you said you were getting the wood. She sends a screenshot of something. Wait, is this the next day now? Yeah, so that was the 7th. Then on the 8th, she sends a screenshot of something at 2 in the morning and an address. She says, FaceTime me real quick if you're awake. He says, I am. What's good? She says, I want to show you something. Babe, come to your room. She emphasized that. He says, why, babe? Come out here. She says, I'm charging my phone and I'm really high. She says, where you at? He says, okay, I'll come soon. Let me get a snack real quick. She says, okay. She says, thanks, babe. She says, I woke up super fried and ate so much. She says, Dom says, what? Like right now? She says, like an hour ago. He says, I woke up at 5 and ate another edible. She says, I'm not high anymore, but you could see the high in my face. LMAO. Of course you did. What one? He says, the chocolate. She says, that's so good. It's nice out. He says, not really. You want to help me do a couple drops? She says, yeah, when? He says, right now, if you want to hit the backwood. She says, yes. She says, want me to get a ride? He says, yeah, I'm about to spark the little one from last night. She says, okay, on my way in 3 seconds. She says, that was at 12:49. She says, don't take a long time. She says, you've been there a while. Question mark, question mark. He says, okay. She says, come. She says, Dom. She says, I'm really bored. He says, just give me a little longer. I don't even think it's been 20 minutes. She says, sideways face. Babe, I just figured out Meg's been lying to me. Wait, it's not. Jump to the next morning. Wait, are they at oh, she went out with him to do drops. She says sideways face, and that was at 11:51 p.m. And then she says the next day, well, midnight, babe, I just figured out Meg's been lying to me. Sad face. Dom says, how? She says, she told me she can't hang with anyone during. And Dom says, and what? She's hanging with people? And Kenzie says, yup. I'm so done with everyone. Dom says, she's probably snuck out or something. Kenzie says, I don't know. She doesn't do that shit. Dom said, if she can't hang out with anyone, she probably does that shit, you know? She says, I don't know. This shit is gay. Like, even if she is sneaking out, she can sneak out for me. Dom says, how do you know? Kenzie said, like, she went all the way to Carl's. I seen Joey's story. Dom says, oh, that's different. She trying to hang with dudes. If I was 15 or 16, I ain't sneaking out to hang out with my dudes. I want to see some 𝗝𝐵ITCHES. Dom, that's what Dom said. Kenzie sends an emoji. He says, I'm right though. She says, no, I'm going to block Megan. He says, that's unnecessary. She said, lying is unnecessary. Do you want to hang out like now or some shit? Because I'm annoyed. He says, no, not right now. She says, what are you doing at 1:44 p.m.? He says, chilling, doing nothing pretty much. It's like, Kenzie, you're getting all butthurt, but he doesn't want to hang out with you. Hey, Shasta, I think more people were done with her. She doesn't have any friends. That's what I thought too. Yeah. She'll stand over you and watch you sleep. Kenzie will. Oh, yeah. She crawls in through the window. Remember? He says, what a weirdo. Love-hate relationship. It was blackmail on her part. Absolutely, vacay. You guys, again, if someone texted me this much, like, and it was unwanted, I'm blocking you, okay? Blocking. Especially when she sends like a bunch of question marks, like all the time. I keep missing the lives. Yeah, old days. Turn on your notifications. Turn on the notification bell. I know YouTube didn't notify you. I'm curious now. Dom says chilling, doing nothing pretty much. Wait, what time is it? 1:51 p.m. He says, you want to make hella cake pops? She says, I was for real gonna ask you that. We should make hella cake pops today. He says, should we make brownie cake pops? Use brownie mix? She says, how would that work? He says, and then do the same thing. She said, but is it like brownies, but like brownies cook different than the cake? We can try, LOL. He says, it'll probably still work. She says, okay, want to hang in like 5? He says, I don't know, probably a little later. She says, like, we can go to the store now and get the stuff, then we can start now. He says, yeah, I don't really feel like it. Wait, he brought it up though. That's kind of annoying. I won't lie. Like, he brought it up. He was like, he's like, do you want to make cake pops? You know? So now he's like, I thought she had Rosie grab. Nope, Rosie, I don't. Are they friends here yet? I think they are actually. I can't keep up with who she's fighting with and who she's not, and who's blocking and who's not. That's annoying. He says, yeah, I don't really feel like it. She says, okay, LOL. Well, we can at least hang in like 30. Or even now, we can just kick it until we start doing cake pop shit. Oh, he says, let's just hang out a little later. Let me go chill with Carl and AJ. She says, tell me a time. When are you going to be home? She says, FaceTime me. He says, why? She says, I need your opinion. My mom got Giorgio's pizza. She says, babe, what are you doing? She says, why do you keep declining and not answering me? 15 question marks. He says, I'm reading. She says, oh, okay. When you're done reading, can I come over? Babe, can I come over now? He said, not now. She said, when? I'm really bored. At 6? Please no later than 6. I'm already low-key tired. Dom? Now? 4 question marks. And are you on D&D? She said, she's so insecure. She's like, there's no reason to be on D&D. Thanks for tricking me again. Next time you tell me we're going to do something fun, make sure we're actually going to do it. I'm sick of getting excited just for you to tell me you don't want to. She emphasizes his message. He said, what do you mean? Actually, never mind. I don't want to know. She says, you were just here. You were here telling me we're going to make a ton of cake pops. I get excited. Then 2 hours later, you just tell me no, you don't want to, and act like I'm supposed to be totally fine with you saying no after I've already been excited to do that all day. Do you know what I just thought of? Remember when you told me so long ago that you're her? Wait, what? Okay, so that's random. So she says that at 6:31. She says, remember when you told me so long ago that you got herpes to get rid of me? Dom said, LOL, that was a joke. She says, oh, that was so long ago. I remember it's okay. I just wasted a cute outfit today too. She says, can you answer the phone right now? Like right now. She says, Dom, answer. She says, you make this shit so hard. Like I'm trying to effing call you because some F shit just happened. And then you just sit there and ignore me. Why are you on D&D? Like if you think that helps with anything, you're slow. She says, I'm for real mad. Call me right now. Well, first of all, Kenzie, you spelled slow SLOE, which is hilarious. And 2, why would she bring that up? Why'd she bring up the herpes thing? Like, I feel like it's like she's like trying to manipulate it or bring it up to manipulate him. Give Dom some space. I know. He needs to tell her it's a glitch. Take a freaking nap. She doesn't want to. Really? YouTube's pissing me off. Whoever writes her, tell her she's on D&D. Dude, here we go with the slowness. She doesn't know how to spell and it bugs me. I mean, I'm not like, I wasn't in the spelling bee or anything, but at least I could spell slow. She got them and wanted to blame him. Yeah. She says, call me right now. He says, no, you can text me. She says, Dom, I'm about to freak out. It's not even about you. He says, okay, then. She says, I can't believe you said that. You're for real mean AF when you text me. I asked you to call me because I need help and you're being an a-hole. If you don't call me, there's going to be an issue. I shouldn't have to effing say that you should call me because you care, but looks like you in the I'ma be a 𝗍𝗍𝗃 to Kenzie mood. Oh, okay, I got it. Like, oh, you're gonna be a dick to me. She says, answer. Like, you leave me on red when I'm telling you I need to talk to you. If you keep ignoring me and being mean, I'm just gonna walk to your house. He says, I'm not. She says, you are. You literally are. Dom says, no, I'm not. She says, I'm asking you to call me and you're not. And you're on D&D for no reason. If you're being a 𝗍𝗍𝗃, I'm going to be crazy. So if you don't want me to be crazy, don't be an effing 𝗍𝗍𝗃. And you still haven't called. I'm for real about to freak out. I'm done. This is why I hate my life. Thanks so much, Dom. He says, we were on the phone. She says, you never called. Why are you not calling? She says, it's literally unbelievable how you still haven't called me yet. Like, do you really want me to just walk over to your house? If you don't call, I'm going to blow the F up. She says, I get how it is. Next time I need you, I'll just not ask because we both know you're going to ignore me and not be there. You the most dry ass replier. Stop being dry. This is like my favorite line ever. Like, I can't with people. Don't be dry and hit the like button, please. Because I'm being censored because of the Epstein files. That's probably why you guys didn't get a notification. I thought she was gonna say I'm just gonna walk away and got excited. No. How can he? He's busy fighting with her in text, FaceTime, and on Instagram. Remember, we're still not even done going through the Instagram messages. We need to finish those. Hey, Jakey. She says, you the most dry ass replier. Stop being dry. She says, and you're going to make this up to me if you can. She says, effing DICK. Why is it so hard for you to be there for me anytime I ask? You are not allowed to sell Maddie anything anymore, and you need to unfollow her on everything. Because remember, he allegedly cheated with Maddie, but he didn't. Did he cheat on her? Even if he did, they were probably broken up because remember they fight and break up all the time. So who knows? I don't believe her though. She says, you are not allowed to sell Maddie anything anymore, and you need to unfollow her on everything. You are not allowed to be cool with her. And you're going to make this up to me. Only FAGS treat their girls like shit, by the way. He says, I'm not trying to do this. I'm literally just chilling. She says, yeah, you can probably find a way to make it up to me. He says, what? She says, you can make it up to me. How about you start by not ignoring me? I don't know why it's hard for you. He says, sometimes I just be doing stuff, you know? She says, no, I don't know. And that stuff isn't a normal thing. How about next time someone tells you they need to talk to you, you answer. You can just make it up to me. This is where she starts with the whole making it up, manipulative bullshit she does. She's like, you can make it up to me. And she thinks that means he gets to spend his money on her and buy her everything. When really her parents should have been looking after her. She was still a minor living under their roof. She says, you can just make it up to me. She says, because I know you won't. I know you won't say sorry. She says, still ignoring? Dope. He said, sorry, I was eating at 9:09 p.m. She says, text me when you're up the next morning at 7:04. And she sends a screenshot of an article. She says, nice. You still ignoring me? She says, honestly, WTF. She says, I'm for real mad. I don't know why the F you do shit like this. It's childish. He says, Kenzie says, whatever, Dom. I don't know why you do this shit to me. I really hope you're sleeping. At 1:02 p.m. She says, WTF is wrong with you. He says, what do you mean? She says, WTF. You left me on red at 11, then ignored me until now. You were mean all day yesterday, and now you're going to do it again today? ? You're just sitting there stressing me out for no reason, ignoring me and leaving me on red. For what? And then I finally get your ass to reply, and you give me the most dry reply I've ever seen in my life. He says, no, I'm not. She says, then what are you doing then? Like, you were so mean for no reason yesterday. I'm just trying to hang because you're the only person my mom is going to let me chill with because someone my dad knew just effing died. And so I just want to hang out with you. Whatever, just keep treating me like shit. He doesn't respond. And she says, like, you just said, quote unquote, no, I'm not. And then you continue to ignore me. He doesn't respond. And she says, it's sad how you're still ignoring me. You can just make it up to me later today. He says, I was driving. She says, so are you going to make it up to me? He says, what do you mean? She says, are you going to make it up to me? Are you going to fix what you have been doing to me for the last day and a half? She says, are you home now? At 2:51 p.m. She says, can I come over at 3:00 p.m.? She emphasizes it. And at 3:04, she says, answer. WTF. ISTG. Are you still trying to make me flip out? Very fake of you, Dom. She says, I'm about to be on my way. See you in 5. He says, really? She says, he says, really at 3:14 p.m. She says, want to stop being a DICK? He says, I'm about to leave to do some sales. She says, okay, I'm ready. You can come get me. You can make it up to me right now. She says, stop effing ignoring. You're such an effing DICK. You treat me like this for no reason and I never deserve it. She says, I'm ready, so come. He says, okay, come over. You can come with me. She says, okay, on my way. He says, then we'll get hibachi takeout after. Just don't be mean to me. She says, that was at 3:20 p.m. And then she says, they must have hung out. And then the next morning she says, babe, let me know when you're up at 10:41 a.m. He says, I'm up. You gotta, he says, you gotta look for your Easter basket. I have to sneeze. She says, you can, Kenzie says, oh, can I come over after I get ready? Oh, it's Easter. He says, no, you have to sit outside. She says, LOL. But for real, can I come now? He says, yeah, we need to find our baskets. She says, okay, babe, I'm excited. She says, what are you doing? She says, oh, wait. Yeah, she says, what are you doing at 10 o'clock p.m. on the 12th? And then she says the next morning, want to hang soon? Babe? He says, I don't know what I'm doing today. I have to sneeze. Sorry. It keeps like going away. Red flags. Red flags. They're the biggest red flags. She's the hey, all saying good to see you. She's the definition of someone who was never told no. Well, you're right about that. She says, Dom says, I don't know what I'm doing today. She says, just make plans with me. You know I'm down to go anywhere you want to go. She sends a link to Music Apple link. I was trying to figure out who that was in the picture, but I can't tell who it is. She says, listen to this. It sounds like that one song that I said sounds like a Trippie Redd song. She says, LMAO, are you just declining then not texting back? He says, because you don't wait for me to text back. She says, because you take too long. He said, well, I'll just take longer. She says, so you're going to reply to anything I said, LMAO? And WTF? I'm mad now. WTF? That is so nice of you, Dom. Why do you just have to be a DICK to me when I'm just trying to have a combo with you? Like, it makes no sense. He says, because you're trying to annoy me. She said, how? How the F am I trying to annoy you? Texting you is trying to annoy you? Question mark. Are you stupid? Question mark. He says, you text me, then you call me right after, then text me again, then call me again. She says, because you decline and then you just don't answer. She says to her dad, we need to get mom a good wig. So apparently her or her mom wears a wig probably with the... Wait, when did she say that? That's hilarious. Hey Julio. She says, because you decline, then you just don't answer. Dom says, whatever, I don't care, just talk to me later. She says, you should care. Thanks for turning a combo into a fight. He didn't, though. I'm like, you did, not him. She says, thanks for turning the combo into a fight. Thanks so much. Now you're just going to ignore me. He says, that's what you do. She said, ignore you? I never ignore you. You just think, oh, I'm gonna be a dick to Kenzie. Then you turn me trying to talk you into a fight. It's honestly effing annoying. She sends a screenshot. She said, see, you left me on red where I put the yellow line. Like, you always be starting this shit. I'm just trying to hang out or talk and you just make it a totally different thing. Like, I could for real break hellish shit right now. You're so annoying. Just hit me up when I can come over. Nice. Leaving me on red. No response. Emoji. Wow. Now you're on D&D. I for real can't. He says, I'll text you later. She says, fine. What are you doing? He says, chillin'. She says, when are you going to let me come over? And when are you going to not reply slow and dry? If you just chillin', text back fast then, babe. Why are you still on D&D? He says, I'm talking to Blair. She says, okay, then let me come. It's been a while. Let me come now. Please, just let me come now. Dom? He says, no, not now. She says, in 1 hour, question mark. He says, I might get TD with, I don't know what TD is. I might get TD with the boys. Okay, typo. She says, you're not supposed to be with hella people. And then hang with me so you can hang with the boys later. Dom, answer. He says, I don't know. She says, just let me come now. She says, I wanted to play PS4 and watch movies with you tonight, but it's whatever. Then you go hang with your boys, Dom, for real. Just let me come. Then you can go hang with your boys for real. Let me come. She says, text back fast. Dom? She says, ugh. He says, I'm about to go hang with them. We can hang another day. She says, Dom, you're going to ignore me all effing night and day? Hang with me for an hour or two. Dom, I'm for real about to freak out. Answer. He said, why? She said, Dom, I'm for real about to flip out. He said, why? She said, you're going to go wherever you're going. Then you're going to ignore me the whole effing time. You won't even go to hell with me because too many people, but you can go get effed up with people. Hang with me for 1 hour before you go. He said, it's just going to be like 3 people. She said, just 1 hour. Who? Hang with me. Just go to at 5, Dom. Just hang with me for an hour. It's 4:01 p.m. She says, why are you leaving me on red? Dom? He says, I'm on 1. What? I'm on 1. She says, Dom, let me come over until 5. I'm effing coming over, you DICK. On my effing way. You're such an a-hole. She says, I'm done. I'm on my way. She says, I really don't know your issue. Like, dry AF all day, and then you ignore me like you're at home, plug your effing phone in. You for real break me more and more every time you just F me over like this. Like, thanks for the effort, Dom. Dude, she's so dramatic. It for real breaks me more and more. Like, he doesn't want to be with you 24/7. How does that break you? You psycho. Dom says, what? She says, you can plug your effing phone in. He says, I think you're overreacting. He says, I did. She said, stop using 1% as an effing excuse. Oh, there's the 1%. Don't tell me what to do, says that. The accident didn't break her fingers to make her stop texting. You're right, Evie. She's not right in the head. She gives me Amber Heard energy. It's like Amber Heard, Jodi Arias, which I do want to watch tonight. Yeah, go back later, Amanda. 1%. Charge that shit. She says, stop using 1% as an effing excuse. Dom, I swear. Let me come over for 1 hour. He says, I couldn't find my charger. He says, no. She said, what the F is wrong with you? You always talk about not breaking quarantine. Then you go get drunk with effing R words. You guys know I hate that word. RETARDS in this case. He says, it's going to be like 2 people, but okay. She says, and maybe if you didn't ignore me all day, I wouldn't flip out like this. Then who? He says, well, 3 if you include me. She says, who are the 2? He says, whatever. She says, who? If you don't say who, I'm for real coming over to your house right now. He says, probably Kyle. She says, and Kristen? Dom says, I don't like your attitude. I don't know. She says, I don't like when you ignore me all day. How? Dom says, you're pissing me off. I'm going to ignore you the rest of today. She says, and I'm just gonna, and there's a typo. And you're just gonna ignore me tonight too. You're making me upset. Dom says, you made me upset. She says, tell me you're not going to ignore me all night. How? I didn't ignore you all day. I didn't do nothing to upset you. When you're sitting here just being mean when I'm hurt. He says, you're being mean. She said, because you ignore me. Dom, what do you expect? I try so hard to get you to answer and just never works. Like, it makes me so effing depressed. Like, all you have to do is tell me you won't ignore me. Sorry, I was listening to my phone. Like, all you have to do is tell me you won't ignore me and it's okay. But no, you just argue. Like, it's not that hard to make me happy. Dom says, well, because I usually just be doing shit. And then when you're mean, I just go on D&D so then I don't vibrate. She said, like, there's shit going on in my life. And I just want you to answer when I text you. Or not be on D&D when I try to call you. Like, I'm not going to spam you. I haven't done that in a while. So what do you call what you've been doing this whole time? I think that's spamming. 12 messages in 1 minute. I think that's like spamming. She says, I haven't done that in a while. She says, or you could even say that it's okay, babe. We can just hang tomorrow or you can come sleep over when I'm home. See, look how easy that is. Mm, no, because right here where she says like, you can come sleep over when I'm like, she's just setting him up for how controlling she wants to be. It's frustrating. She says, see, look how easy that is to be nice to me. All people know how to do is do me wrong. Even the people you love the most. Dom says, okay. She said, like, if you're just nice, none of this will ever happen. And see, WTF, quote unquote, okay, really nice job being rude as usual. Can nice words leave your mouth over text or can you only be nice in person? You are literally mean to me over your text. And Dom says, if I'm not doing anything, you can come over. It's 4:20 p.m. She says, we both know you're not going to help, but you could really help by calling me because some shit with Megan and I just went really bad. Dom says, just leave her alone and it'll probably be fine. She said, see, that just proved my point. Why can't you ever be there for me and you don't even know what happened and you say that? He says, I thought you would tell me what happened. Kenzie said, we both know you're not going to help, but you could really help by calling me because some shit with Megan went down. Quote unquote, really help by calling me. Dom says, well, I don't want to talk to you on the phone. Can you just text me? She says, I knew you would be able to be there for me. I knew you wouldn't be able. She says, I really don't get it. If I wanted to text you about it, I would, but I know you're going to just take 30 minutes between to answer each text. I don't know why I'm still trying to find people to be there for me when no one ever is. Like my effing baby can't even call me for 5 minutes to be there for me when I'm at a low point in my life. Kenzie, low point in your life because you're having drama with your girlfriend? Really? Rolling my eyes. The countdown. Yeah. She says, she's ridiculous. She's a clown. She says, you would rather get effed up with people that wouldn't even care if you just stopped talking to them rather than help me. Dom says, I'll talk to you later about it if you want. She says, wow, it's sad AF. You can't be there for me. Like, it's really effed up. Thanks for making it worse. You for real just made it so much worse. Like, you just keep showing me how little you care. You would rather be with your friends who are users than sit here for 5 minutes and talk to me. Dom says, you're a user. I'm screaming. I love that he says that. Hey, Nikki. I love that he says that. You're a user. Because she is. She takes all his weed. She takes all his money. She spends all his money. She ruins his stuff. Yeah, right, Pizza? It's about time. This is two accidents before two accidents. 2 years before she kills him in the crash. 2 years, and he's telling her, you're a user. I don't know how he did it for so long. She says, I am? Question mark. I use you? Question mark. You're honestly such a DICK. Dom says, yeah. She says, that's what you're going to say to me when I'm asking for help? Dom, we can play your game. I'm walking to your house. See you soon. Smiley. She's like walking over there with like a knife. Not funny, because remember, that's what Jodi Arias did to poor Travis. Oh, I thought he was talking about Rex. No. Probably 2 accidents. Well, yeah, Alsane says probably 2 accidents before two. There have 2 incidents, more like it. Remember, there was already incidents before where they were fighting in the car, and his mom got involved, and was it the friend or the cousin? I can't remember. He like called them to come get him because she was like she did it once and he did it once. So they probably shouldn't have been in a car together. He says, what? He says, I'm not there. She says, oh, that sucks. I'm still on my way. I'm walking right now. Dom said, nice. I guess I'm not coming home for a bit. She said, guess not. I guess I'm going to have to walk to Kyle soon. He says, I'm not there. She says, if you're not there, I'm walking to Carl's. You're such an effing bitch. Only bitch's treat girls like this. Wow, you're a effing only treat girls like this. It's so disrespectful. She says, especially when they're asking for your help. One day you're going to wake up and hate yourself for how you treat me. You can't pick and choose when you're going to treat me good. Dom says, I try not to. She says, try not to worry. Treat me like shit, because if so, you're not trying at all. Does it make sense? He says, okay, whatever. I'll just talk to you later. She says, I'm about to come find your effing car and say that until your rude ass is ready to effing leave. And stay there, I think she means. Might take a quick nap in there. I don't know. If you want to play these games, I'll play them 3 times harder and win. The threats. Dom says, I don't know what you mean. She says, I mean, I'm going to effing find where you are and sit in your dumbass car until you're ready to stop being a dick. A dick. She is crazy. She says, oh, I see Nico. Wait, 513. See how she goes from like raging, and then she says, oh, I see Nico. Want to tell me where you at to make it easier? He says, getting food. She says, where? She sends a picture of herself, I think, smoking a roach. Dom says, Chick-fil-A. She says, damn, when will you be at Kyle's or Carl's? Okay, when are you going to be back? I might leave and come back. Dom says, I don't know. Kyle can't have people over. Just gonna bullet? I don't know what that means. She says, okay, come scoop me. I'm at your house. And Kristen and me might hang sometime. It's cool because I never talked to her, yet she could be there for me. You for real owe me an apology. She says, reply. She says, I'm for real leaving. When you're home, I'm coming back, and you better stop ignoring me and being rude. Dom says, I'm driving. She says, don't care. I'm coming over when you're home. And I'm mad at you, and you need to say sorry to me. Shake my head, she says, at 6:16 p.m. You need to learn. Dom said, sorry, we can just chill later or tomorrow. She says, we're chilling later, and I'll sleep over. You can make it up to me again by doing movie game night. And sorry means nothing to me. He says, when? She says, when you're home. Take the time to type out sorry. And then she says, and you beg to stop ignoring. I'm being so serious. You can't apologize and ignore me. He says, I'm not. And okay. He says, are you there right now? She said, no, I went home. LOL. I got bored. She says, I went home because I was bored. But then she says, I can be back at your house in 2 seconds. So he says, oh, okay, we can hang tonight. She says, when will you be back? And what are you doing? She emphasizes it. He says, I was hooping for a bit. She said, can you just come back soon and hang with me, please? It's already getting late. Dom, it's 7:11 p.m. He says, I don't know. She says, can you just come back to your house? Like, it's already 7. Just go back. You've been gone for a while. And I want to hang before it gets dark. She says, answer. He says, I haven't been gone for that long. She said, yes, you have. Reply fast or get off D&D. She says, can I just go to your house or something? You can come back at 9. He says, if you want. She said, will you come back at 9? Dom, I'm going to go to your house, but answer. Answer. Also, where even are you? Answer so I can go to your house. He says, I don't know, at 9 maybe, but yeah, you can go there. She says, where are you? Also, come at 9, Dom, for real. She says, I'm going right now. He said, I don't know if I can. She says, I'm there. Your mom made food. And how the F don't you know if you can? If you don't come back at 9, I'm going to be really mad at you. She said that at 7:55 p.m. And then she says, did you hit a car? She says, I know where you are, N-word. You're with gross ass N-words. Like, really? That's weird AF, LMAO. Dom says, what do you mean? She says, you are with weird ass people. You can hang with Davion and Travis, but you can't hang with me. I'll see you at 9. He says, we were ballin', and I'm not coming home at 9 because you're being mean. She says, I'm not being mean. Saying someone is weird isn't mean. LOL. She says, come back at 9. Don't be a 𝗍𝗫𝗃. You were already mean today and yesterday. She says, I'm here at 8:29 p.m. He says, I don't know. She said, Ashish is here. You can see him. Dom says, okay. She says, are you coming? Question mark, question mark. He says, yeah. She says, okay, bet. Ashish is asking how far you are. Come back now? Question mark. Oh, wait. So wait, she says, okay, bet. Ashish is asking how far are you? That was at 9:06 p.m. And then it jumps to the next morning. Or the next day at 8:26 p.m. on the 14th. She says, come back now? Question mark. Dom, he says, probably not yet. She said, please before 9, I'm bored. He says, I might be able to do that. She says, what are you guys doing? Is he okay? And is your mom making dinner? Dom said, yeah, he's chilling. She said, oh, okay, good. Just try to come back before 9, please. LOL. And then at 9:03, she says, you coming? He says, yeah, soon. She said, okay, come, LOL. And then it jumps to the next morning at 10:03 a.m. She says, morning, babe. He says, morning. She says, my mom got me hella lush shit and I just used some after I showered and my skin is popping. Dom says, that's dope. He says, me and Angelo kicking it and then Toph just came upstairs and killed my vibe. She said, that's gay AF. You should just tell him to go into his room or something. Dom says, my dad called me about Topher this morning. Like, I really give an F. So then I tell Toph to call dad like he told me to. Then he just didn't say anything. Like, at some point, this N-word just got to suck it up. Like, what the F is wrong with him? Like, you asked me last night if you think I'm blessed. And I said, yeah, I'm in the 1%. This N-word live in the greatest country ever with a family, with both parents and lots of siblings. And this N-word want to be a bitch like America, a promised land of success. Literally. Someone said Toph wasn't his brother, but I thought Toph was his brother. And he just said, my dad called me about Topher this morning. So does he have 2? I know we were like discussing this last time. He needed to move to another state. get a restraining order and move to another country, not even another state. Her parents suck in the parenting department. I always said teachers make the worst parents. She sneaked his keys to everything. But yeah, manipulative. Yeah, I just can't imagine, like, my parents would be looking for me and they'd be like, "What are you doing? Do you know, like, do you need money? Like, come home. Like, you're not gonna be out till 2 AM. Like, get your ass in bed," type thing. That's what would be happening. She chased him like a blood-sucking mosquito. Yeah, she did. Let me get a drink. Okay. He says, like, if you don't succeed in America, you're just an effing R word. If you're not happy in America, if you're not happy in America, you're just an effing R word. Kenzie said, yeah, that's true. For real. Just have your mom say something to him. It's his brother. That's what I thought. Someone was saying it was a friend, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's his brother because that's the one that um had the run-in with the police, right? And the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend. Love that you started. Yeah, we did. I started earlier today. I wanted to, because we're gonna do an Epstein live later. So I wanted to make sure we got it in. And if we can do another one after that, that would be nice. Dom says, Kenzie said, yeah, that's true. Just have your mom say something to him. Dom says, the F is she supposed to say? They cater to him every day. When he just doesn't do anything or doesn't give no effort, he's like a baby. He doesn't move, clean, or do anything. And everyone just has to clean up after him and take care of him. But isn't Toph, sorry, I'm trying to keep my eye on Nancy Guthrie too. Isn't Toph schizophrenic? I think I remember that part, right? And she says, Dom says, and everyone just have to clean up and take care of him. Kenzie says, I don't know, for real, someone just needs to tell him how he's acting is not cool. Or everyone should just stop cleaning after him and make him do it. I don't know. Dom says he won't. No one will. It'll just get worse. He is literally cancer. Kenzie says, if you guys do that, your living room will probably just be effed. I for real don't know what you could do. Dom sends her screenshots along a message. Dom says, I just sent my mom that. Maybe she'll get it. Kenzie says, damn, she will for sure. But that's how it is. I really just feel like someone needs to. She's dumb. She says, I really just feel like someone needs to yell at him. What's your move today? Dom, OMG. She sends a screenshot of something. He says, what's up? Wait. Did it change days? No, it's the same day. It's the 15th. She says, what's your move today? Dom, OMG. Screenshot. He says, what's up? She says, what the F? With 10 question marks. What do I even say? Dom says, be like, nah. Kenzie said, like, I want to help her because her family is effed, but like her boyfriend threatened me and she tried to set me up. Like, what if she changed? Dom said, nah, just be like, there's a line you can't go back from. Kenzie says, I feel bad, but I'll say it. Thanks, babe. And what are you doing today? She says, Dom? He says, I don't know. I'm chilling with Angelo right now. She says, when you don't, would you want to hang? She says, Dom, Miss Hackman is leaving the high school. Kenzie says, Dom says, hey, bet. Kenzie said, I'm hype. Do you want to chill when you're done hanging with Angelo? Babe? He says, maybe. I don't know what I'm going to do. She says, LMAO, hang with me, babe. She says, what are you doing now? He said, just hanging with Angelo, about to make some food probably. She said, in a little, can I just come hang with you guys? Dom? She says, text me back. He said, yeah. She said, I can come soon? Question mark. Is that what you're saying yeah to? Let's go on a boon. He says, I already smoked and I don't feel that good. She said, oh, want to just hang then? Want to bake some shit? But did you say yes to coming over? Why did you leave me on red? He said, it was by accident. She said, answer though. He said, you can come in a little. She said, bet. My fit is cute AF. He doesn't care. Hey, Sarah Beth Gibbons. Yay, we've missed you, Sarah. Good to see you. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Paula. Yeah, I know, Evie. We're screaming. She's like, bet my fit cute AF. If you guys want to see her fits, go look at the playlist. There's 3 Kenzie playlists. Under the case playlist, you can look at all the Snapchats that we went through, and you can see her fits there. They're ugly. And I would say inappropriate for her age, but I guess probably not, considering the times. But anyway, she says, bet my fit cute AF. He says, LOL. She says, can I come in 5? Can I come now? When you talk to me like that on the phone, it gets me bummed AF. I get your tummy hurts, and I'm going to be there to take care of my babe, but don't sound super uninterested when I talk to you. Sad face. I'll text you in 30 minutes. He says, you want to make Rice Krispie treats? She said, oh my God, yes. What kind? Edible or regular? LOL. He says, edible. She says, yes, I'm deaf down. Can I come through now? Babe? Question mark. He says, come through in like 20 or something. She said, it's been like 30 minutes, but yeah, I'll come again 5:40. She says, that's cool, right? He says, yeah. She said, okay, bet. I'm about to come. She said, the cake is done. Oh, wait. So then she says, yeah, I'm about to come. And that was at 5:39 p.m. And then 7:06 p.m. the next day. Wait, the next day? I'm on crack. No, it's the same day. She said, the cake is done. She said, the cake is done. She says, Playboy Cardi's song trash. It's like, okay, but not good. She sends a clip of Fox News in the pandemic, because I think this is around the time of the pandemic. She says, read that. He says, I don't even care anymore. She said, it's just so effed at this point. She sends him a screenshot of himself. He sends an emoji. She says, I for real laughed out loud at that video. Oh, it was a video. He says, the noise. She said, yes. She says, wanna chill? He says, maybe. She says, what are you doing? He said, just drove past your house. She said, come get me, LOL. He said, I can't. She said, when you're done, you want to hang and get Shinto? He said, Shinto hurts my stomach. She said, okay, then let's just hang. It low-key does sometimes. I want to hang soon. So when you're done with runs, come get me. She says, babe. She says, I'm really bored at 3:27 p.m. She says, babe, answer, please. He says, I don't know if I want to hang. She said, okay, that's fine. If not, what are you doing? And I'm drawing a surprise. Don't leave me on red. He said, it was by accident. She said, well, answer, LOL, and look at Insta. He says, okay. He says, I don't think it's loading. She said, oh, you're going to love it. And what are you doing? He said, just got home at 4:41 p.m. She says, I've been drawing for long AF. He says, what are you drawing? She said, that one little 𝗠𝗲𝗹𝗆𝗆 thing. I'm doing me now. And I have to do shadows after. Dom says, okay. She said, want to hang later tonight? Babe? She says, it's done. Okay. No response. Nice. Not answering. He says, I was doing stuff. Did you see the drawing? She says. And she sends a drawing of it. Something. And then an audio message. And he says, LMAO, that's funny AF. She says, it's funny your way of saying you love it. Can you stop ignoring me and slow replying? He said, stop effing spamming me. Wait, what? Were they just laughing and now they're fighting, per usual? He said, LMAO, that's funny AF. Yeah. She said, it's funny. It's funny your way of saying you love it. And that was at 7:09 p.m. And 2 minutes later, she says, can you stop ignoring me and slow replying? Dom says, stop effing spamming me. And yes. She said, I was about to say, because that drawing took like 2 hours. After I eat, do you want to hang and watch movies? Babe, text back. Sad face. I'm trying to have a convo. I don't know why you're taking so long to answer. Dom says, I couldn't find my phone. LOL. He says, I ate more edibles. I'm really fried. She says, LOL, that's the most fried shit. I want to eat one, hang out, and watch movies or play Mortal Kombat. He says, not Mortal Kombat, but I'll play some games. She said, LOL, want to hang right now? She says, babe, can I come through? He says, not right now, but soon. She said, can I come at 8:40? He says, maybe. She said, not too late, please. If I'm tired, I won't want to play. She says, you should just let me come now. She says, Dom, what about now? She questions his message. She says, babe, text me back. He says, maybe. I'm chilling with Angelo and 𝗍𝗃. She says, Dom, you told me we can chill soon. Like, it's been soon and you can't just tell me yes and then start chilling with other people. Like, just let me come now and then you can hang with them. She switches gears the moment she doesn't get her way. I know. Poor kid had a miserable last 5 years of his life. He really did. He didn't get to missed you, Sarah. I'm glad you made it. He didn't get to spend time with his family or anything because he was dealing with her. It's sad. I wonder if she bugs her prison boo like she did Dom. It's probably worse in there. She says, like, it's soon and you can't just tell me yes and start chilling with other people. Like, just let me come now and you can hang with them. She says, Dom, for real. She says, really? This shit is so annoying. If you didn't want to hang, you shouldn't have said, yeah, I'll come, I'll play some games. Then, yeah, soon. Like, question mark, question mark, question mark. He says, okay, fine. You can come hang at 8:50 p.m. She says, okay, I'm on my way. She says, where you at? I'm in your room. It's funny how you can just ignore me all day. And then when I finally come to your house after you say we can play video games, you just make me watch you play for 2K, play 2K for hours. Well, because he doesn't really want you there, Kenzie. Like, you invited yourself, you forced yourself. She says, and I'm in your room, so you can come say sorry. Or you can keep being like that. He says, what? She says, read. He says, I don't know. She says, I don't know what the F is wrong with you. You are so rude for no reason. Dom says, not trying to. She says, maybe try a lot harder because you tell me I can come over and we're going to play video games, but then you just have me watch you play 2K. Wow, so fun. Well, then why are you so pushy and trying to go over there? Suck it up or don't force yourself over there. Can you imagine being in a stuck with her? No, I cannot imagine being in a stuck with her. What? Stuck in a cell with her? I'm like dyslexic. She says, wow, so fun. She says, so what? You're going to come in here and apologize or keep acting rude? Question mark. He said, that's not what happened, but okay. She said, then what happened? So you're not going to apologize? I swear to God. He says, no, I'm not. She says, you're an effing dig. She says, if you don't come, I'm gonna come back into the room and just kill the mood. So you can just come say sorry or stop being like that or keep being like that. He says, you already did before. She said, when the F, when you started being rude? Okay, I'll just come back in right now. Wow. So she had already killed the mood and here she is acting out like this again. What's new? Next day, she says, morning, babe. He says, good morning. She said, I just played with Cam for like an hour. That dab made me sleep so long. Do you want to hang soon? Dom? He says, I don't know. She says, I thought we were chilling today. He said, Kenzie says, I asked you last night if we could chill earlier today and you said, sure, probably. So you want to hang around 3 or 3:30? Dom says, well, I don't know. I'm just chilling now. She says, LOL, well, it's 3 now, so I can come right now or in 30 minutes. I'm trying to come over. He said, no, I want to chill alone for a little. She says, and we can chill at 4. Dom says, do you have my little polo hoodie? She said, what one? She said, the black one. Little or logo? Wait, let me go back. Oh, it's little. I don't know what that means. He says the black one. She says the jacket. He said the hoodie. She said, let me look. She said, I don't think I do. Like you're talking about the black with the light bluish polo logo? He said, black with gray logo. She says, I don't have it. He says, okay. He said, it's gone. She said, what? He said, I don't know where it is. Topher probably has it. She said, what if it just got mixed up with the laundry? Or maybe it's in your car. He says, I found it. She says, bet. She says, where was it? He said, it was in Angela's room. She said, that's good you find it. That's one of my faves that you wear. But you never answered about us hanging out at 4. He says, I don't want to. She said, oh, damn, I thought we were going to chill today and take dabs today. We talked about it last night. He says, I might want to later. She says, did you see how snowy it is? When is it going to be warm? He says, yeah, it kind of sucks. She says, I got a quick question. I don't want to text it though, because it's about some shit. Please answer ASAP. I need to know. And then she says, 5:49, trying to hang right now? Question mark. Sends an emote. He says, LOL. She says, do you want to chill now? He says, maybe. I'm playing 2K though. He said, I'll watch. Kenzie says, I'll watch. I don't care. I just really want to hang with you. I'll try to play 1 round with you. She says, I'm bored as shit. Please let me come. LMAO. He said, not tonight. 6:23 p.m. Or not right now. She said, please now? You told me last night that we can hang early today. And it's not even early anymore. So please just let me come now. Dom, for real. Please. She says, please. He says, I'm just playing 2K though. She said, Dom, I don't care. I just want to sit there and watch. I literally told you I will play around with you. Like, just let me come. She sends 20 question marks. Like you said yes to hanging out early, but now it's 6. This is stressing me out. Can you please answer? He said, I don't want to chill though. She said, I've been waiting all day and I thought you were going to let me come over early. You told me last night, Dom. You literally told me last night that we can hang early. She says, I'm about to freak. He says, why? She said, why? With a bunch of question marks. Because you told me early and I thought you were serious. Then you make me wait all day, then say no. Like, let me let me come. You shouldn't have told me yes if you didn't want to hang. Like, I don't get why this is so hard. He doesn't respond. And she says, like, my head feels like it's about to effing explode. You told me we could hang and take dabs tomorrow. Like, this is whack. I literally told you I will sit and watch you play 2K like 4 times, and you're still being like this. Just let me come hang out. He says, no. She says, what the F? Really, Dom? So when you tell me we can chill, I'm going to have to just sit there and wonder if you really mean it. Like, hell nah. You're not able to ditch me after you already said we can hang and take dabs. Literally yesterday, you told me you would stop being rude, and here you are doing it again. No response. She says, I told you this is stressing me the F out, and you're still going to do this to me? I don't know why you do this shit to me. Dom says, I don't like your attitude. She says, I have no attitude, Dom. I'm upset. Do you think I'm gonna just be like, oh, okay, when you ditch me for the 300th time? Like, shit hurts. I was looking forward to taking dabs and hanging with you. Because last night, you just made me watch you play 2K for a while. Like, just hang with me, Dom. You told me yes. Last night, I'm not trying to have any attitude with you. I really just don't get ditched. I don't like getting ditched. Sorry. He says, maybe chill on the spam. Hey, I've never lied. Good to see you. Kenzie, get the hint, dude. She never gets the hint. It honestly pissed me off. She was so content and happy also doing that. Yeah. She's using every answer he gives her. If this guy like treated me like this, I'd move on. I mean, it's obvious she gets on. I said the same thing, Sarah. I said I would block. There's a difference between being obsessed and cute and then being obsessed and toxic and violent. We should watch it here. Sorry, I was drinking water. We should watch it here. Really informative and real. Okay. He says, maybe chill on the spam. She says, let me come now. You can't just keep saying maybe like you've been doing all day. Like, I've been ready to go for a while because I thought early meant 1 to 3, but I guess not. It's like, why is there a time for like everything? He says no. She says Dom. He says no. She says WTF. Like, why do you have to ditch me every time you make a promise? Like, every time I just have to go through getting ditched. She says, you think you can just be mean to me all day and just keep ditching me and telling me shit that you know you're not going to do? Dom said, stop spamming me. She said, you're probably sitting there doing that smirk you did when I was crying so hard. I'll never forget that. Like, I feel like you like to see me hurt sometimes. You get my hopes up, hang you get my hopes to hang, then you make me wait, then you finally tell me no when I've been waiting for you all day. You don't know how it feels to be ditched and treated like shit most of the time. But I do because I'm the one sitting here feeling empty. He says, okay. She says, wow. Then you reply like that. Maybe if you said a little more than okay, I would spill my heart out and feel a lot better. No. That's why that's why he didn't. Really? I'll have to look into that after, Chantal. That's crazy. I'll have to pull it up. She said, maybe if you said a little more than okay, I would spill my heart out and feel a lot better. Let me come over, Dom. He says no. She says, so you're just not gonna read what I said? Question mark. I swear to effing God, you treat me like shit. Remember when I asked you to treat me how I treat you and you said you would try? This isn't trying at all. I'm about to come over. I'm not letting you ditch me. Okay, see you soon. He says, I'll just dip. Why do you do this? She said, why do you lie to me and say we can hang and say we're going to have a fun day, then wait, make me wait, then say no? Do you not know? Answer your phone. Dom says, that's not what I do, but okay. She says, Dom, you told me last night before I left that we can hang and take dabs tomorrow. I asked you and you said yes. You shouldn't have told me yes if you were just going to do this to me. You don't know how bad it hurts. He says, maybe because you were throwing a fit. She says, how? Because you told me no after you told me we can chill and take dabs. You got my hopes up for nothing. She says, that should never happen. And you shouldn't like to see me like this. You shouldn't want to see me. You should want to see me and you should want to make me happy. Like, answer more than okay. He says, I don't know. She said, please come hang with me, Dom. Really? So you say, I don't know, for real? That's such an immature move. After I just asked you to say more. He said, stop. She said, Dom, say more than one word. Dom said, just let me play video games. If you weren't trying to argue with me so much, we could probably chill. She says, I'm not trying to argue. I never am. Dom says, but I'm never going to let you come over if you're acting like this. Kenzie says, I'm chill. I've been chill. I want to hang with you like you told me we could. Let me come over at 7:30. Please. He said, leave me alone for a little. She said, I'll just chill. He said, no. She said, Dom, then 8. and it's 7:15 p.m. He said, no. She says, I'll leave you alone when you give me a time. When are we taking dabs and hanging? She says at 7:16, literally 1 minute. He says, never giving you a time again, not making plans no more. She said, WTF. Dom says, yeah, because you just flip out. Kenzie said, I flip out when you ditch me. How about you tell me early in the day that you don't wanna? Dom says, no plans, no ditch. He says, I do. Kenzie said, no, you don't. Dom says, you ask me and I say no. Kenzie says, you say maybe. That's a lie. He says no to you all the freaking time. All the freaking time. She said, you say maybe. Maybe is more yes than no. Dom says, and then you say, please, 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 please. So then I say maybe. Kenzie says, like, you have me waiting all day. You had me waiting all day. I didn't know you would pull this. Dom says, I do when you act like this. Kenzie says, I literally just asked you to hang. You pulled it before I was flipping out. Dom says, I don't even care. Kenzie says, you don't care that you ditched me before I was flipping out? That makes no sense. Like, you can't keep saying sorry, then doing the same thing. Then the sorry just means nothing. I told you I'll watch you play 2K until you don't want to play anymore. Like, I just want to hang. Dom said, stop spamming. Now it's 7:20 p.m. She says, I could care less what we do. I just wanted to hang out with you like you said we could. How about you read what I'm saying because you're being rude again? Read it. Dom says, I'm not trying to. Kenzie said, well, when I spill my emotions to you and you reply, stop spamming, okay or no to it, it hurts. Listen, just let me come hang out at 8. I'll leave you alone until then. Then that can be your way of fixing the ditching me issue. She says, wow, you're really on D&D now. He says, no, just leave me alone till 8. Maybe we can hang. She says, get off D&D, please. He said, leave me alone until 8:30, actually. She said, 8. He said, no. She said, okay, I'll leave you alone till 8:30, then we can hang. Because I've been ready for way too long. I'll leave you alone till 8:30 and you get off D&D and then at 8:30 we can hang. And it's already 7:30. She says, okay, will you let me come over now at 8:29? Like right on the dot. She says, Dom? He says, I don't know. I'm chilling with Angelo and I'm really sore. She says, why? Do you need a massage? Just let me come now. I waited without texting you or calling you one time. Dom says, no, because I'm chilling with Angelo now. Thanks, though. She says, damn, so I waited all that time for nothing? I should have known. I thought you were going to let me come. He says, maybe I can let you come in a little. She says, that would be nice. It's already getting late, though. Do you think it will be before 9:30 or around then? She says, Dom? He says, I'm playing 2K. She says, can I come hang now? Please, I'm so bored. It's irking me. He says, I don't know. And that's at 9:38. Then he says, good night, babe. And she says, good night. He says, I'm super tired somehow. She says, I'm not tired. He says, I figured out why okay, so that was, she said, I'm not tired. And then it's the next morning. And he says, I figured out why my hip hurts so bad. Well, my hips and my butt. Kenzie says, why? LOL. Can I come over in like 15? She said, my mom is being annoying as shit and I'm about to flip out. Or, okay, just don't answer me. Like, why can no one ever be there for me? Like, what? She says, answer me. OMG. He says, I'm reading. She said, that's all you had to say. You don't have to ignore all my calls and my texts. Please, can I come over in 10? He says, no. She said, so you can be there for all your friends, but you can't be there for me. Like, why can't you ever be there for me? You're always the first one to help your homies when they need someone to be there for them, but you can never do it for me. He says, I'm really sore. She said, that doesn't have to do with anything. He said, stop tripping on me. She said, then be there for me. If any of your friends say they need support, you help them right away. Tell me why you can't do that for me when I'm your number one supporter. You for real make me feel like I'm nothing when you do this to me. Dom says, because you do this. She says, do what? Ask for your help and you say no? She literally makes me want to. I know she does. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. She says, ask for your help and then you say no. Then I get upset because I see you're helping your homies all the time. Dom says, honestly, I'm getting really sick of this. Kenzie says, like, I'm already having a bad morning. I don't need you to do this. Dom says, I'm cool. You can hit me up later. She says, no, I'm coming over. He says, no, get the F out of here. You big trippin'. She said, nope. You are as usual. He said, okay, I'm leaving my house then. She said, when are you going to learn how to treat me? Dom says, when are you going to learn to not make it a game? Kenzie says, I never make it a game. I ask for your help. You always say no. Then it makes me upset because my own babe can't help me. Like, I can't keep going through shit alone. It's not good. Like, I thought you would help me this time, but I guess I'm wrong. Like, you can't even talk to me on the phone. You can't even say sorry to me without me telling you to apologize. I do so many little things for you and you still can't appreciate me. I'm so fed up with you treating me like shit. No response. You make everything 400 times more difficult than it should be. You could have just said, I'm reading, babe. You can come over soon. Question mark, question mark, question mark. You're really going to leave me on red? She says. He says, mm-hmm. She says, you're a DICK. When are you going to learn? He said, okay. She said, is that your way of saying you're never going to learn? Name one time you have been there for me. You probably can't. He said, yeah, I know. It's because I don't care, won't care, and haven't cared. She's in such denial. She knows she did it. She just hopes nobody else does. He's like, I never actually cared. She says, wow, I can't believe you just said that. Wow. Wow. He says, LOL. She said, it's not funny. He says, I mean, you take everything as a joke anyway. She said, that's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm for real about to have a panic attack. She says, wow. He says, okay. Stop counting score and I'll stop being mean. She said, what you say was too far. That's so effed up. I can't believe you said that. He says, okay, then don't talk to me. She said, telling someone you never cared is the most F up thing anyone can ever say. That for real broke my heart. He says, haven't cared. You're being dumb. She says, quote unquote, I don't care. I won't care. Yeah, I know. It's because I don't care, won't care, and haven't cared. I will never forget that. I can't believe you could even say that to me. He says, I'm done talking to you. She says, I just told you I'm having a bad morning and you tell me that? Like, I just want to effing melt away. That just killed me, I think she said. He says, yeah, I would explain myself, but it's too hard to explain anything to you, so I don't care. She said, maybe you're just a DICK. It's not really hard to understand. Don't try to save yourself. You said what you said. I will never forget that. You've been nothing but mean to me for the last couple days, and I never deserve to be treated this way. He says, no, I'm not trying to explain that. I said that totally to be mean because you were pissing me the F off. If you don't deserve it, go get treated better somewhere else, because to me, it seems like nothing is good enough for you. Oh my gosh. A little emotional. I forgot. Wow, I forgot he said this stuff to her. Go get treated somewhere better. If only he walked away for good, I know. She says, "So you were trying to hurt me?" Question mark. That's that's was the point of saying that. Nice, because it worked. Dom says, hurt is a strong word. BADICK. Kenzie says, no, I'm not going to be a 𝗍𝗫𝗃 because it hurts people. Dom sends an emoji. She said, just like how when you said that it hurt me to the point where I could cry for 30 days. I could cry right now. Dom sends an emoji. She said, sad, right? When the person you care about to death says that they don't care, won't care, and haven't cared. That shit feels like a stab wound. Dom says, yeah, and I was being serious too. She says, now that I know you're just trying to hurt me, I don't care. Like, I wonder if you treated Hannah like this. Oh, there we go. Freaking bringing up the exes. Sounds like it to me, just to be honest. Dom said, yeah, it is, because you special. Oh, sounds like it's just me, to be honest. Dom says, yeah, it is, because you're special. She says, can I come back now? It's cold out here. Dom? Let me get a drink of water. Wait, did it go to the next day or no? Because how are they just going to jump like that? He says, oh no, it's 1:14 p.m. And he says, yeah, because you're special. She says, can I come back now? It's cold out here. She says, Dom? She says, okay, I'm in your room. Why do you do this shit? Like, I don't like it. So now you're going to go in there and be all nice and happy, but not with me? She's at his house. He said, I didn't even go back in there, but okay. She says, then where are you? He said, in the kitchen. She said, just hang with me. Like, I want to hang. I don't want to just sit here and have you being mean to me. Dom says, no, I didn't want to hang with you. You just came here. She said, when you told me you would stop because you were being mean, I need you to be there for me. He says, I'm mad, so I'm just going to be mean to you. She says, that's so effed up. You're mad? See, I told you that you just steal the anger from me and don't let me be upset because you can be mad for days. Dom says, you can't steal anger. You're crazy. She says, like, you couldn't let me be mad at you. Then you just got mad, so I have to not be mad and make you not mad. Did you just really call me crazy? He says, yeah. She says, you're so effed up. A complete 𝗍𝗫𝗃. Like, what happened to you? Dom says, bruh, I don't give an F. Oh my gosh, if he would have got her pregnant, that would have been crazy. I'm so glad too. Why you gotta bring up old shit, Kenzie? Narcissists always turn the table in their favor. Good point, Nikki. I want to know what flipped in the relationship that had him kissing. You guys will see when we get to 2021. We'll have to pay close attention. But like what happened in real life, I don't know. I'll never know. He says, bruh, I don't give an F. Kenzie says, I know you already told me you don't care, you won't care, and you never will. I thought you were being mature about this. I left you alone for a little, then we were supposed to talk. But you just kept being mean when we were supposed to talk. Can you just be the bigger person this time? ? Dom said, can you? Because he says, like, you tickled the anger out of me this morning. It's not fair that I just get to be mad for 1 minute and you get to be mad for like 4 days. I am trying to be, but you won't talk to me. Dom says, N-word, I don't want to be mad. Kenzie says, then don't be mad. Let me tickle the mad out of you like you did to me. Dom says, nah, I don't want to see you. Tickle the mad? Sounds weird. Kenzie says, WTF, so you're going to make me come find you? He says, no, I don't want to see you. She says, you're being immature. Come talk. He says, no, leave my house before I hate you more. I think this is truly how he felt too. I think deep down inside, he really did hate her. It would send her spinning. She starts threatening. He was way too smart for her dumb. Yep. I believe she blackmailed him too. Yeah, she did. She may have been during the accident playing chicken. If she thought he was, that's what I thought. She dropped names and things and phone calls hoping to get people in trouble. Mm-hmm. Yep, she did. She is awful. He says, before I hate you more. She says, wow, you are so mean for no reason. How do you expect me to just leave when you're being so mean? Like, typo. Like, I want to fix it. I don't want to beef, but you make it so hard. He says, you're not fixing it. She says, then you say shit like that. Like, what? Come talk and be mature. She says, I will probably just leave after we talk. He says, nah, I don't want to talk. She says, Dom, then I don't want to leave. Why do you make everything worse? I'm not even being a bitch. Dom says, if you don't leave, we won't talk. He says, you are being a bitch. Kenzie said, if you said if I stop keeping score, you will stop being mean. Which clearly wasn't true because I haven't said anything that has to do with keeping score and you're still being mean. Dom says, N-word, you're so dumb. Kenzie says, why can't you be nice to me? Like, shouldn't have to ask myself, what's wrong with me? Dom says, just go home. She said, oh, so I'm dumb now too. Keep calling me names. He says, there's something wrong with you. Go home. Oh, I totally forgot this part. How he was like so done with her shit. He's like, there's something wrong with you. Go home. She says, you think you're getting your point across? WTF. 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 Okay, I'm not going to keep saying it. There's like 3 more. He says, shut up. Go home. He says, I don't care. I hate repeating. She spams. And I'm just letting you guys. She's spamming him, dude. She says, he says, I don't care. She says, you're so fake. Like, I trusted you. And then you tell me something's wrong with me. How can you just say that? Where are you? She says. Dom says, I said that because you said that. Kenzie said, stop making excuses. Like, I tell you I'm having a bad day and you just make it worse. I told you I've been sad lately and you could care less. Like, I need love and support, Dom, not constant hate. He says, today you're gonna get hate. He cracks me up here. She says, I came here because I needed someone. And then you just make everything so much worse. Like, I need help. I can't go through everything alone. And it's 4 p.m. Kenzie, go talk to your mom. Go talk to your sister. Get your shit together. She done went crazy. Nene said these girls' parents are such enablers. They should have disciplined her and possibly, yeah. And they possibly would have had a future. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Oh man, my grandson had my phone. I had to get through all the commotion to get all the cocoa melon to get back to Emily. That's funny. She needs therapy. She needs more than hey Luna. She needs more than therapy. J Barry. She says, like, I need help. I can't go through everything alone. Dom says, you came here to harass me. I forgot that part. That's wow. That's the truth. She spams and harasses him. She says, I came here to talk and be mature. I came to fix the situation. He says, fix by leaving. Fix by stop being a bitch. She says, I'm not being one at all. I will leave if you talk to me. He says, no, leave. I'm done texting you. About to go on D&D. She says, I'm going to come find you. He says, leave. And maybe we can talk tomorrow. She said, no, because maybe gets my hopes up. Then you F me over. That's so great. They're literally in his house having this argument via text. He says, "Okay, then leave and we can talk we can't talk tomorrow." She says, "No, what the F? Where are you?" He said, "Sorry, I forgot. I can't say maybe no more. Leave." She said, "You said it was cool if I leave you alone, we can talk in a little. Like, why do you never keep your word with me? You told me you would treat me better and you didn't do that. Then you said you would stop being mean and you didn't. Like, there's so many more things." Dom says, "You made me say that, but okay." He says, "Leave. Going on D&D now." She says, "I never made you say shit." He said, "Yeah, okay." She said, "I'm coming to find you then. You're just trying to hurt me." He says, "Now you're going crazy." She says, "You love to see me upset. For what?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, I just wanted you to be there for me today. He says, "You thinking things are happening that are not happening. You're delusional." She said, "Promise you won't leave?" Dom, he says, "I'm gonna go to Trevor's." She says, "Why?" Dom says, "'Cause he hit me up." She says, "Can you come back here after a little bit?" Dom says, "Can you just go home?" She says, "Dom, please let me stay. You said if I go, we can talk. I went in and waited." Dom says, "No, I said I wasn't talking. I said, if you go, I'll leave. If you go and I'll leave. I won't leave." Kenzie says, "Can we please talk before you go then?" Dom says, "About what?" She says, "Everything." Dom says, "Like what?" She said, "What happened today and what we can both do to make it not happen again." Dom Ward says, "N-word, nah. That shit don't work. Just go home." She says, "Why?" Question mark, question mark. "Yes, it does." Dom said, "No, it doesn't." Kenzie said, "It only doesn't work if people don't try to fix what they did." She says, "Can you drive me home?" He says, "You're just making me mad again." He says, "No." She says, "Okay, whatever, LMAO. I didn't do anything wrong. Stop blaming me. I'm just trying to fix this." Dom says, "Well, you're making it worse." Kenzie says, "I guess I'll just get a ride when you're in the car about to leave. Like, you really can't drive me home?" Dom says, "Mm-hmm." She says, "That's so petty, Dom. Like, you're in your car about to leave. Don't be petty, Dom. LOL." Dom says, "I still have to go inside." Kenzie said, "Then come inside." He says, "No, I'm waiting till you dip." She says, "I want a hug before I leave too, though." He says, "No." She says, "So you're going to be like that? That's cool." He said, "Okay." She says, "Maybe we can talk later." She says, "I took a dab at your house and ate a cake pop, and now I'm so fried, but like it's a really good high." She says, "So you're just going to ignore me all day?" So it went from 5:40 to 8:04 PM. She says, "Don't ignore me." He says, "Okay." She said, "Do you want to talk and chill later? Or would you want to sleep over? I cleaned my whole room. It would be really fun." He says, "Probably not. I'm probably going to go chill with Trevor." Kenzie says, "I thought you were with him already." Dom says, "No, I waited for Blair." She says, "Oh, LMAO. Well, if you don't, can we chill? Want to come hang here? Maybe you can bring the dab rig here and we can just take dabs and chill." Mm. So all y'all's parents is okay with just taking dabs in the house. Thank you, VK. At this point, there was no fixing her. She's rotten to the core. I believe that, Nini. I do. Thanks, Ramon. I appreciate you. Um, he says, I'm almost definitely going though." She said, "Well, you want to sleep over here till after you chill with Trevor?" He says, "I mean, it's gonna be kind of late. I don't know." She says, "I'll stay up. LOL." He says, "Okay, I'll let you know." She says, "You want to?" She said at 11:33 PM. She says, I'ma just sleep, hang tomorrow." He says, "Yeah, I just got home. I think Imma just sleep here because I'm still sore." She said, "That's cool. Maybe we can FaceTime for a little. Putting a heat pad on your legs will probably help." He says, "I'm just gonna do nothing that could inflame more." She says, oh, I didn't know that. Do you want to FaceTime? She says, I'm probably going to crash soon. Let's just chill tomorrow. He says, maybe. She says, all right. And do you I have to sneeze. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. She says, all right, do you not want to FaceTime? He says, I don't. And that was at 1 a.m. Okay. We're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. We're 2 hours in. Or here, actually, let's go one more day. Let's go one more day. She says, you're going to be done soon? He says, I'm not sure. The next morning at, oh, well, it's the next afternoon, actually, 2:48. She says, you're going to be done soon? He says, I'm not sure. He says, Kenzie says, are you still doing drops? Want to just bring me with you? Kenzie says, I just realized what tomorrow is. You sure we can't hang for like a little bit tomorrow before you chill with your homies? Oh, it's 4:20. It's April 19th right now. He says, maybe. She says, okay, good. And what do you think about bringing me with you? I'm really bored, so that would be nice if you scooped. Or can I just go to your house? He says, I might be able to scoop. She says, bet. She says, right now? Question mark. Dom? LOL? Question mark, question mark. He says, no, after I do stuff. She said, oh, I thought you meant now. Can I just go to your house then and chill there? It's insane that she just wants to go sit at his house alone. Like, she must really hate her home, or she's really like the controlling is out of control. How controlling she is out of control. She says, I'm trying to chill before it gets dark and cold. And I was asking you to scoop me like now because I'm really bored. She questions it. He says, I'll swoop you. She said, okay, yay, I'm ready. He said, blunt is burning, so be ready. I'm by Foltz. She says, LOL, okay, bet. 4:19 p.m. She says, I'm waiting downstairs. He says, I'm here. She says, oh. Dom says, I'm here at 4:24 p.m. And then it goes to the next day. She says, hit me up when you're up. So now it's 4:20. He says, I'm up at 9:44. She says, my dog wakes up barking way too much. Dom says, I straight fell asleep on that movie. Kenzie says, I know, I heard you snoring before I fell asleep. LMAO. After I'm done doing some shit, can I come over? Dom says, yeah. She says, okay, bet. Want me to bring over caramel corn? And that was at 10:04. And then she says, can I come now? And he says, yeah. She says, yay, okay, on my way. She says, I wish you just stayed. I wish you just stayed. I wish we would have just stayed how we were. I don't even want to be in your room. I'm probably just going to go lay here now. Dom says, okay. She says, why do you just say okay? Say more than okay. Dom says, I don't know what else to say. Kenzie says, there's a lot of things you can say of than just dry okay. Like, can I find out when that boring show is over? Like, can you find out when that boring show is over? She says, and are you guys just having a combo now? Dom says, it's like 20 minutes. It was like 28 when I said 20. Kenzie says, are you sure? Want to take a dab after? Since you didn't give me one, LOL. Dom says, yeah. He says, you can do it, babe. Wait, so that was it, 4:20. It ends there. I wonder if they smoked and stuff because it ends at 9:18 p.m. on 4:20. I wonder if they hung out then. Dom says, you can do it, babe, the next day at 9:09 p.m. That's weird. It just jumps from the 21st and then it jumps to 22nd. Good night, babe, at 1:09 in the morning. And then she says, I feel a lot better now. He says, nice. So now we're on the 22nd. She says, it took me so long to fall asleep though. I for real couldn't move. Dom says, get off your phone. Read some books. Kenzie says, LOL, I just got out the shower, dummy, trying to chill. He says, I don't know what I'm going to do today, for real. Kenzie says, we'll want to hang now, and if you want to chill with your homies, I can dip. What do you think? He says, I'm about to do some stuff, and I'm going to chill with 𝗍𝗃 probably. She says, that's cool. Can I come with you on the sales? Then after you can drop me off, it's cool. If not, I don't really care. He said, yeah, come over. She said, bet, on the way. He's letting her come over more. She says, try to be done soon, please. At 6:49 p.m. He says, when you gotta go, ho. What? She says, what do you mean? You said you were supposed to go get the food now. I don't want the food to be cold. Dom says, what? Sends a screenshot. I can't see what it is. Kenzie said, it's all big and shit. Wait. What are they talking about? I can't tell what's in the picture. He sends a picture at 1:13 in the morning. She responds with an emoji. She said, it's all big and shit. So cute, though. Oh, it's a dog. Dom says, he's just chilling. Takes another picture. Kenzie said, how does it not see you? I don't know what it is. Kenzie said, as soon as I walked out, that MF was dead staring at me. Dom says, it's being chill. It's seen me, but didn't really care. And then Angela went out and he left. Kenzie says, oh my God, why couldn't it just leave for me? He probably knew I was scared AF. Dom says, LMAO, for real. You see the weather? Kenzie says, not yet, LOL. Is it nice out? He says, yeah. She says, oh, like shorts hot? Maybe we can go exploring. She questions her on message. Trying to chill sometime today? He said, maybe. She says, that was at 4:09. And then she says, what are you doing? At 5:08. He says, just doing my normal shit, balling and stuff. Now I'm just chilling because it's raining. Kenzie said, oh, damn, it's not nice anymore. Sad face. Chill soonish? And she questions her on message. When are you going to be done, babe? And then she says, question mark, LMAO, what is going on? He says, my bad, I was playing Clash Royale. She questioned her message. She said, LOL, it's cool. Oh, she must have called him. She says, are we chilling soon? Yes or no? He said, yeah, we can chill in a little. She said, okay, let me know. She says, babe, I want to show you what I painted. She says, let me come now. He says, okay, you can come at 9:06 p.m. She says, okay, bet. I have really bad cramps right now, she says, at 1 a.m. Like, shit's so bad. They're making me uncomfortable. Like, I for real hate it. Dom says, that's tough. If only perks weren't bad for you. She says, LMAO. And I can't even rest on my elbow because they hurt so bad. Life gay right now. Dom says, lay on your side. She said, that's what I'm doing right now. Like, my face is all itchy too. Makes me want to shower right now. Okay. We'll end there because then it starts on the next day. We're almost done with April. Should we just try to finish April today? Has anyone ever driven on shrooms? No. She's so desperate to be around him, reminds me. Yeah, let's just try to finish April. She says, like, my face is all itchy too. Makes me want to shower right now. She says, LOL, you were up late. What are you doing today? He says, I just seen your dad. She says, LMAO, no way. How? Dom says, he was on your street. Kenzie said, oh, LOL, want to chill soon? Dom says, I don't know. She says, are you doing cells right now? Just let me know after your cells. She says, what are you up to now? Dom? He says, yeah, I've been busy doing my shit and had a shower, so we can chill later. She says, oh, okay, bet. Text me soon. She says, I'm playing Animal Crossing with my sister. He says, LMAO. She says, what are you doing at 2:56 p.m.? He says, I'm still busy, actually. She said, really? Damn. Want a boon sometime today? He said, right now I'm making a quick piece of pizza, but then I gotta do stuff. And yeah, probably. She says, LMAO, quick piece. Okay, bet. Just let me know, babe. He says, okay. She says, LMAO, look at Joey's story. Dom says, LMAO. She says, can we link soon? Babe, I need to show you something right now. Dom texts me back. Dom says, I'm balling with Kyle. Kenzie says, oh, that's cool. When you're done, come get me. I have a surprise for you. Dom says, okay. She says, but hit me up soon, babe. He says, okay. She says, soon? Question mark. Please, LOL. He says, I'm chilling with Kyle and Blair. I got you after. She says, yeah, I know you told me you were with them already. I was asking if you can be done soon. You said we could boon today. She questions her own message. He said, I said probably after I do stuff. She says, you said, yeah, probably, but it's cool. Can you just try to hang with me soon? Dom says, Kyle is leaving before 9. She says, bruh, 9? That's late AF. Dom, I'm going to be tired. Can we hang before? Like, I thought later meant 7 to 8, not 9. Dom says, no. She says, are you for real? Like, you really can't hang with me before 9? Like, you know that's late AF. And she says, you said later, Dom. That shit really annoys me. Like, I wait all day for you to tell me I have to wait till 9. You shouldn't have said later. You should have said late AF. Dom says, I'm sorry. We chill every day. She says, it's just annoying, Dom. Like, I even told you I have a surprise for you. I was expecting to come over around 7 and hang. Can we meet in the middle and let me come over at 8:30? She questions her message. He says, no, babe. Ashish and Sean are here too. I'm chilling with them. She says, so you bailing on me again? It's whatever, but it's seriously annoying and it sucks. So you don't want your surprise tonight that I worked really hard on? He says, no, just when they leave, you can come. You can probably come a little later. She says, at 9? Like, I'm going to be sleepy soon. I can feel it. He says, no, probably later. She said, 9:30. 9:30 is pushing it. That's for real way too late. Like, this isn't cool, Dom. You said later, not past 9. She says, I have a lot of anxiety right now. I hate this. He says, no, you're expecting too much. We were probably chill by then. If we don't throw a fit. She says, I won't throw a fit. What the F? Expecting you to chill around 7 when you say later, early in the morning, is not expecting too much. Reply nice, not mean, she says. Can I come soon? I'm ready to come whenever. That was at 9:32 p.m. It's funny how she's bitching and complaining that it's too late here to hang out at 9 o'clock, but she goes over there at like 2 a.m. This is one relationship that should be studied under a microscope. I agree. Hey, Lakeside, good to see you. I agree, Sarah. It should be in like the books and the psychology classes. I could see her scaring the crap out of them while driving if it's true. Yeah, I'm avoidant, so this clingy behavior would freak me out. I like clingy, but to an extent, not like this. Not like this. I think there's levels of it. She says, I'm ready. She says, want to hang in Boone the next day? He says, I'm hanging with Chris right now. We can hang today, though. She says, after you chill with Chris, let's go to heaven or hell. She questions her message. He says, maybe. I'm kind of busy. She says, are you doing sales? And just let me come and we can Boone. Babe? He says, I'm at Chris's house. She said, oh, still? Well, when you leave, can you please scoop? Are you staying there really late? She says, at 4:15 p.m. He says, probably not. She said, I thought we were chilling today, though. I really don't want to be home all day again. I thought we could hang around now or 5 and Boone to some cool abandoned place. Dom says, I'm sorry. I'll try to do something with you soon. She says, Dom, what does that even mean? So then we can't hang? Question mark, question mark. Coming over past 9 is just annoying. Like, can't you leave Chris's house in like 30 minutes or an hour and come get me and hang with me? Puts 5 question marks. You left me on red? 4 question marks. She questions her own message. He says, maybe, babe. I do it by accident. Chill. She says, you will maybe leave in 30 minutes? Like, I want to chill with you before it's all dark and shit. Please do it for me. sad face. Come scoop at 5:30, she says. Questions her own message. He says, I'm still at Chris's house. She said, can I just come to Chris's house? Dom says, no. She says, I don't know. You were with your homies all day yesterday. Dom says, you can't always be doing this. And Kenzie, his friends don't always want you there. Hey, MK, dang, she would get on my nerves. Yeah, she would. Dom says, you can't always be doing this. She says, doing what? Question mark, question mark. Asking to hang out? LMAO. Okay. He says, no, I wasn't. I was busy all day yesterday. She says, are you staying there all day? So you're staying there all day? Typo. She says, when are you going to hang with me before 9? Shit sucks. I want day with you and then I can come over at 9. I'm already low-key tired. Like, I wish you would just hang with me early like you used to. It's 5:25 p.m. He says, I have to get shit done. You don't know what I did today. I could tell you later. She says, can you just come to your house now or something? Can I? I want to hang before it gets dark. So I feel bad. So bad. I feel like we haven't hung out before 9 in days. She says, or can you just leave soon? He says, yes, we have. She says, I swear we haven't. Can I just come to your house right now? Or can you leave in like 15 to 30 minutes? 10 question marks. Can you please hang with me now, Dom? He says, I could probably hang with you soon. She said, how soon? LOL. And bet. Then he doesn't respond. And she says, babe, answer. You said soon, and it's been like an hour, Dom. He says, you can come chill. She says, I can come now. He says, yeah, you just can't complain. She says, come out. Oh, so that was at 7:16. And then she says, come out. She says, can I just come into Angelo's? LOL. And then she says, night, babe, at 2:09 a.m. He says, night. Yeah, so she was over there and he was hanging out with Angelo in his room. Who in prison is she obsessed with now? I don't know. I hope no one, but she's at this point she's 15 years old. Yes. 15 years old and she's like this. She could have gone two ways, right? Like she could have either grown up and like matured, or she could have just gotten worse. Makila's brain needs to be analyzed as well. Sarah Boone, they're not right in the head. They're not. They need like saran wrap. That's a funny one. She says, okay, so that was so then it's the next morning. She says, hang early today. Remember, hit me up when you're up at 10:47 a.m. He says, okay. She says, want to chill at 1:30 or 2? Babe, LOL, question mark. Dom says, hello. She says, want to hang in like 15 minutes? He says, maybe. She said, I'm doing some shit right now on Animal Crossing. We can hang at 2:30 if that's a good time. Dom says, you can just come over. I'm not really doing anything. I have to leave in like 15 though. Probably less. She says, okay, I'm coming soon. 15 minutes? She says, sorry, babe. I'm low-key PMSing and that's why I'm all emotional. She said that at 2:30 in the morning. On the 27th. She says, I hope you sleep good. Ooh, she must have been a real piece of work because he says that shit will not happen again at 2:33 a.m. He says, and now I have to go to the bathroom. She says, yeah, I don't want that shit to happen again either. She says, I for real just got my period like 3 seconds ago though. You know I never want that to happen. Dom says, whatever. She says, I'm sorry, babe. Just text me tomorrow. He says, whatever. I was tired at 10. Now I have to get up. She says, I'm not tired either. He says, yeah, I'm going to need a couple days to get shit done now. She says, you can probably get tired again if you hit the bong, then watch TV. She says, don't be mean. I wonder what happened. Maybe she was just being crazy. And so he's like, that's not going to happen again. She says, don't be mean. Dom says, smoking makes you more awake when you're tired. Now I probably will. I didn't do jack shit today. I didn't even get to sleep. Kenzie says, oh, for me, I get sleepy. Dom says, let's just waste my valuable time more. My way more valuable time. Kenzie says, Dom, just chill on me. We both said sorry. I can't help my mood swings when I'm PMSing. So she must have had a flip. She must have crashed out. It's 3 a.m. right now, too, by the way, them texting each other. She says, if I could, I would, babe. He says, you PMS every day. So yeah. So what happened is that it jumped from one day to another, and then it jumped into the morning, and he was mad because she had it. Yeah, now it's PMS's fault. Was it PMS's fault that you decided to drive your car 100 miles per hour into a building and kill Dom and Davion? Sounds like she kept him up fighting. Yeah, she did. He says, you PMS every day. She says, but please don't not hang with me for days. No, I don't. He says, yeah, I might have to when you're PMSing. She said, the last week and today was the only bad day. You should take care of me when I'm on my period, not get mad. I don't know. Dom says, can't let tomorrow and the next day be bad. She says, stop being mean, Dom. We both know they aren't. Dom says, I don't know. After today, I'm not taking the chances. She says, Dom, what the F? Stop. And he says, my mental health right now. She said, that's for real, not cool. And he put little arrows, and he said, my mental health soon. He emphasized his message. She says, your health is important and so is mine. I could get rid of my period. You think if I could get rid of my period, I would. You think I want a PMS? I said, sorry, and you're rubbing this in my face. I'm trying to not get upset at you saying you're not going to hang with me for days, which isn't right to do to me, especially when I'm on my period and I need my babe. He says, I don't know. After all of this, I need some time to myself. She says, then you can have that. I don't really care. Just don't punish me for something I can't control. He says, okay, me time for the next 3 days. She said, that's for real a 𝗍𝗾𝗋 move, not 3 days. You know I hate my house so much. He said 3, maybe 4. She says, you're the only reason I could pretty much chill with. I just said, don't punish me for something I can't control. Don't be the guy that gets mad when someone's PMSing. You have to be understanding. You can't just sit there and punish me by not chilling with me for 4 days. That's basically forcing me to be alone for 4 days. She says, I've been so chill, and tonight you've been so mean to me. You couldn't even fully cuddle me. Sad face. Can we just put this behind us and start a new day tomorrow? He says, your points are invalid. And no. She says, you're going to be like that, Dom. You're the only person my mom isn't weird about me chilling with at the moment. Dom says, it wouldn't matter if you were on your period or not. Kenzie says, Dom, I'm being extra emotional when I'm PMSing. I can't help it. Like, why are you being so mean? Dom says, nah, you the same. She says, why are you being mean still? Like, stop and just be nice to me. I'm trying to work this out, and you're just trying to hurt me by not chilling with me for days. You know that upsets me. We both apologized, and we can be mature and work this out instead of just trying to get at the other person. Be there to support when I'm on my flow, not make me feel alone. She's ridiculous. I can't even deal. Dom says, no, it's because I always get it worse. You just go home and sleep, and then it's normal tomorrow. Kenzie says, how do you get it worse, Dom? Why are you comparing? Am I asleep right now? I didn't sleep the whole time at your house. Stop trying to find a reason to be rude. Dom said, because I waste the most valuable thing in life ever. Kenzie said, time, right? Question mark. Dom, we are quarantined. We have all the time in the world, and it was 10 at night. Just stop being mean to me. I can't take it. Let's just both be mature and put this shit behind us. I told you I'm PMSing, and you should understand. Sad face. He says, next time you're PMSing, go home. She said, I will for sure. My period just keeps getting worse every time. I'm sorry, babe. I don't want you to be mad. He says, it's time for the 𝗶𝗾𝗃𝗃. She says, LMAO, no, don't do that, please. He sends an attachment. What does that mean? It's time for the 𝗶𝗾𝗃𝗃. What does that mean? Am I slow? You're like, yeah, maybe. What is that? That's weird. She got abandonment issues or something? Oh, MK, it's more than abandonment issues, hun. That made me laugh. PMS is no excuse for abusive behavior. Yeah, I get bitchy, not like violent and aggressive. Abandonment issues. That's funny. I don't know what the hell that word is. I think he misspelled something. She says, LMAO, no, don't do that, please. He sends a screenshot. Dom says, this is what girls be making N-words. Do you see? Kenzie said, that's effed up. Is that on Snap? I just seen that story. It's crazy AF. I might sleep soon, but don't punish me for PMSing today. I'm really stressing out about that and I can't sleep. Sad face, sad face. He says, good night, babe, at 5 a.m. And then he says, sorry. And then that next evening, he says, okay, so it jumps to the next. Oh my God, they're having this conversation about PMSing at 5 a.m. Like, if we're doing that, we're not doing that. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you. I didn't see you in the chat. Did I miss you? I got your Cash App. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, beautifully broken. Sounds like he's about to eat some perks and he needs opiates to deal with her, I guess. Hi, Alicia. Thank you, babes. Yeah. Anyways, I would not be arguing at 5 a.m. about this shit. Anyways, the next morning the next afternoon, Dom says that afternoon, hey, babe. She says, hey, what's up? He says, not much. I'm just chilling with Blair. She says, that sounds fun. I'm eating watermelon. He said, I was eating pineapple this morning. She says, that slaps. I just ate a lot of fruit. Why did you like Bella's pic with Nat? Dom says, you told me to like her pics. Kenzie said, not at all. Not all, only that one. She says, do you want to chill sometime today? Dom says, yeah, maybe tonight we can get lit at Nikki's. No one is here. Kenzie said, that sounds fun. Why is no one there? She says, want to hang soon? I'm going to Target, then I'll be free. ? He says, I'm at Trevor's with Kyle. She says, when you leave, trying to hang? She questions her own message. You replying so slow. He doesn't respond. And she says, cool, at 9:29 p.m. He said, sorry, had to drive places. I'm tired. She said, it's cool. Want to just chill tomorrow? He says, yeah. She says, what did you do today? He says, chill with Blair and Kyle and did other stuff. I forgot. She says, LOL, you forgot? I just relaxed because my cramps were bad AF. She says, you up? At 10:33 p.m. He says, yeah, I am. She says, did you see the Pentagon release video of real UFO? Dom says, I didn't. What was it? Kenzie says, Dom, stop liking other girls' tats. I'm not cool with pics. Wait. She says, Dom, stop liking other girls' tat. I'm not cool with pics. That's not cool. So she's talking on Instagram. She says, but can we chill today? Oh my God. She's like, I'm going to tell you what to do and I'm going to be insecure and controlling, but do you want to hang out today? Like, she says, can we chill today? Like in an hour? She questions her own text. Why are you not answering me? He says, because I've been doing stuff. She says, then say something, Dom. Can we hang out soon? You can take 5 seconds to text me back. He said, it's hard to text you back without a phone. She said, what do you mean without a phone? She questions her own message. He says, no, we can't. She says, you said we can hang tomorrow last night. Dom says, when? She said, why are you being mean? She says, scroll up. He said, I don't care what I said yesterday. This is what I'm saying now. She emphasizes her message. She says, wow, why the F are you being a 𝗍𝗫, Dom? Dom says, because you started being bitchy. Kenzie says, it makes no sense. I did nothing. No, I didn't. Dom says, when I'm doing something and I don't have my phone on me, it's not possible to answer it. Do you understand? Kenzie said, yes, Dom, question mark, question mark. But you usually have your phone. You're making me sad. I was just asking you to chill. I wasn't trying to be bitchy at all. Like, you know, I'm sensitive right now. Like, we don't have to chill right now. I just want to hang with you soon. He says, I'm busy. She says, I could just come with you if you want. I want to chill. Or if you think, or if I think you're going to be early, I'll wait till you're done. Oh, if you think you're going to be early. Yeah, games for sure. It's more than that. Poor kid. I know, irony. Just take a Midol. Kimmy's like, just take a fucking ibuprofen or a Midol and just shut up. Dude, that's the truth though. Dom says no, because I'm already mad and you're just gonna make me more mad like always. She says, how did I make you mad? How? How is that possible? She says, why are you being so mean to me? He says, I help my mom clean house and you complain. Kenzie said, I wasn't complaining. Dom says, you call me and be like, answer. That's complaining. Kenzie said, I just asked why. Dom said, and no one's going to like you if you do that. I'm just being straight up. True. She said, thanks, Dom. Are you trying to make me cry or something? Like, that's so mean. You were ignoring me earlier today. Earlier, I didn't know you were cleaning, but I didn't even spam you. I waited till you didn't answer for 2 hours to call you. I didn't try to make you mad. I tried to chill. He says, okay. She says, say more than okay. Be nice to me, babe. I want to hang with you today. Like, I made brownies for us today. He says, I gotta do stuff and I'm behind. She says, when you're done, can we chill? I'll let you do your shit. Just don't ignore me, okay? He says, I gotta shower, then do some stuff. Then I'm gonna chill with Kyle at 4:30. She says, when is Kyle leaving? You chilled with Kyle yesterday too. Can you not chill with him for a long time so we have daytime to chill? She says, LOL, I really want to chill. He says, we will be able to chill. I can't tell you when though. She says, okay, bet. She says, I'm about to make a shirt, like bedazzle it. He says, make me a dope shirt. Kenzie says, I need one of your white shirts. I'm putting trap on my shirt or something cute. That's not cute, Kenzie. You're gonna bedazzle trap on your shirt? Kenzie says, I'll make you one soon. Dom says, trap isn't cute, LMAO. Wait, that's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Take them all. Yeah. He says trap isn't cute. I literally just said that. She said, then what should I put, Dom? Should I put Dior or something? Or like a star? Dom says, I don't know. For real, do some dope design. She says, okay, I will. She says, it's so nice out. I'm about to go spray paint. If you want to come to the lake and join me. She says, Bernie's making steaks at your house in 46 minutes. Dom says, LOL, how do you know? She says, he told me. What you doing? He says, I'm just about to brush my teeth, probably, and go do shit. She says, can we chill soon? What should I put on that shirt? Dom says, I don't know, for real, that's you. She says, I'm putting Dior. It's cute. She questions her text. Are we chilling soon? She says at 7:18 p.m. Dom? He says, I might ball with Angelo, Bernie, and Ashish and Ryan. She says, I'll watch if you're cool with that. She says, it's nice outside. He said, I don't know. She said, so are we not chilling tonight at 8:20 p.m.? She says, I'll be 100% cool with that if you let me come over early tomorrow. She says, babe, I need to show you something. And then she says, want to go skating tonight? It will be really fun. Sad face, please don't ditch me tonight. And she emphasizes, he says, we might be able to do that. I think we're done ballin'. She says, right now? He says, maybe. She says, LOL, you make no sense, babe. Like right now or very soon? He says, we probably can really soon. She says, okay, can we just meet in the middle skating? LOL. Let me know when. She says, wait, I think it's raining. She says, shit, sad face. He says, I know it started drizzling. It could probably get better. Don't really matter though. We can night skate. She says, can I just come over right now and I'll bring my longboard? Then when it's done raining, we can go. He says, no, because I'm still chilling with them. It's literally 10:05 p.m. She says, oh, that's cool. Can we just chill early tomorrow then? She says, LMAO, of course it's raining so effing hard. Dom says, yeah, it's effed. Is it over yet? She says, I don't know. It was raining pretty bad. She says, check. She says, you down to chill early tomorrow, right? He said, depends what I'm trying to do. I think it's going to rain. She said, let's just chill tomorrow since we didn't get to chill tonight. And let me check. She says, I miss my babe. He says, yeah, I wish we were chilling right now. She says, she sends emojis. She says, I just woke up all hot and uncomfortable at 3 a.m. He says, I hate that. She says, Dom, it's so nice we got to hang today and be outside all day. I'll bring my spray paint and longboard. It's going to be like 70. She says, he says, it's rainy. She said, no, it's not. I was just outside. She says, do you want to hang soon? He said, it's saying it's going to rain. Kenzie said, yeah, at 5. Dom said, you said it's going to be nice all day. She put a sideways face. Well, do you want to chill now? Then we can do fun shit till it rains. Babe? He says, maybe I got to run a couple places. She says, when you going? Can I just come with you? I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait if not. He says, if that was the case, I would have told you. She says, you don't have to say it like that. You literally could have just said no, babe. He said, okay. She said, pray to be done quick. Try to be done quick so we can hang. He said, okay. He said, I forgot to tell you yesterday, Bernie came over and was like, yeah, I'm cooking this steak for Dom. Then he cooked it, ate the whole thing, and let me have one bite. Kenzie says, what the F, LMAO? How was the steak though? Of course he did that. Dom said, it was pretty good. What should I wear? She said, shorts and a shirt. I'm wearing red top, black shorts. Wear like gray shorts. Dom said, what with the gray shorts? She says, maybe a black top or dark blue. He says, I don't think that would work. She says, really? What color are you thinking? When you're about to be done with the runs, he says, I'm made leave me alone for a little. She says, okay, I got you. And that was at 2:25 p.m. And then at 3:13, so like less than an hour later, she said, what's up now? It's going to be 5 soon. She emphasizes it. She removes a question mark. Don't ignore me, Dom. I've been waiting 3 days to chill with you. That's a lie because we just read the text messages and you guys were chilling. Hi, Green-Eyed. We missed you in the lives, girl. I hope you're doing okay with your surgery. Longboard, I think. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Sell her clothes to pay shit for jail life. That's a good idea. She's like 6 years old. I don't think she ever cried. No. She did when she got arrested, remember? We're gonna rewatch that. She did? She says, Dom, I've been waiting 3 days to chill with you. He says, chill, I've been mad. She says, oh, I didn't think you would still be mad. Dom says, I gotta do more shit real quick, then we can chill. She said, so in like 30 minutes? She says, bet, and put hella smileys. She says, I'm longboarding over, so let me know when I can start. He says, you're gonna look so cute longboarding. He says, you can go. Kenzie says, LOL, okay, coming. He says, did you leave yet? She said, yes, I'm on my way. Text me. So that was at 4:26 p.m. And then the next day she says, text me as soon as you're up. My mom was being a bitch and wouldn't let me longer. Oh, let her sleep longer. Dom says, okay, come over and cuddle at 6:30 in the morning. He says, I had to clean everything up. It sucks. I think I got it all though. Kenzie said, the bump's pretty much gone. What bumps? Are those her? Wait. He says, I had to clean up everything. It sucked. I think I got it all though. At 7:14 a.m. Okay, we're going to stop there. We finished April. I'm not going to go into the next because it's May. So I'll schedule the May live for tomorrow. I'm glad you made it, Green-eyed girl. I hope everything's cool. And shout out to all of you guys. We were just live for almost 3 hours. For those of you that just got here, so sorry. We're ending the live. We might have an update on Nancy case, and I want to try to still do Epstein tonight. So hurts. Well, Green-eyed, I'm glad you're here, and I hope you can make it for the Epstein live later. It's good to see you all. Please hit the like button on the way out. We'll continue reading the text messages. Really? Oh, wow. Okay. I'll have to we might be doing a Nancy update for sure. Yeah, Epstein tonight. Let me eat some dinner. It might be a little bit later and we might not be on as long for Epstein, but I'm down to go on and look at some pictures and read some docs. So hit the notification button. Please tap the like button on the way out because as you know, YouTube is trying to censor me now that I've been covering that. And if I do an update on Nancy, I'll schedule that as well. So shout out to all of you guys for being here. Thank you. I got to go walk my pup in the rain. Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. Shout out to all of you for being here in the chat and participating. I appreciate you. Like I said, turn on your notifications, give your girl a like, and I will catch you on the next live. And like I said, I'll schedule Kenzie probably for tomorrow, probably early again. I'm trying to get Kenzie done earlier in the day. And there's 3 playlists if you're interested in learning about the Kenzie case. We have Kenzie Calls with no commentary, and then we have Kenzie Case, which is like everything we've ever covered. And then I have a new playlist of the Kenzie text messages. So you can definitely go out and check those out and listen to those in the meantime. If not, I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.